Welcome to my little jungle tent. So this background I actually made myself. I made this background from, that's a real picture of the kind of tents that we used at NTC in the desert. There's a pretty significant training exercise in the military where you go out to a desert that looks exactly like the desert in Afghanistan, and you live out there for about a month. No real bathrooms. Sometimes, a lot of trying to figure out where to go to the bathroom in the desert without people looking at you. The wind almost blew away our medical tent. Some of our guys got corneal abrasions in their eyes from sandstorms. So it's kind of a hardcore experience. We smelled disgusting afterwards. A lot of women get funny infections in that setting. A lot of everybody getting such severe hypothermia that they got trench foot as well. So that's kind of where my experience comes from, and I gotta tell you, it was the best experience. It's still the best experience I ever had in the military. I miss it, and I would do it. I would rather do that than any of the stupid paperwork, office, military stuff I've had to do. So I actually feel really comfortable in this kind of setting, like an austere setting, where I have a little bit more control, because nobody has control, right? You're a little bit more free. And so this is a real tent, like the military tents that we would use. It looks exactly like the one that I used at NTC. And then behind that, in the doorway, there is that's a real picture of the jungle in Hawaii that Brian and I went through. So this is where I'm comfortable, and this is where we're going to do wilderness medical exam on you, kind of show you a couple things, and we're going to go through this survival book, and this is going to be, I think, an awesome time together. I'm still wearing my shirt. I went out today for the first time in a really, really long time. Went out and went to my military job to get my BLS certification. I went to get my BLS certification, and I gotta tell you, I was really nervous because I get really panicky and afraid when I go out in public because of things that have happened to me. And so I was really scared the whole time. We did just fine. We did just fine. Positive attitudes, a lot of positive coping strategies. I really thought I wasn't going to be able to make it physically because of the pain, because I've been in pain. I was in pain, but I was able to smile through it, and it was exciting because I was focusing on other stuff. So it was really good. So I got to go to my BLS, I got to kind of feel like a soldier again for a little bit, which was truly lovely. So I miss that. I love the austere setting. I always liked going out to the range and stuff like that. I like the actual soldier stuff. I was the best female combatant in my company, although that's not saying much because the female combatants in my company were not that great. But this is stuff that I love. I shot expert on my M14. Excuse me, that's not a real gun. On my M4. Couldn't shoot anything on my M17. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. I was really sick that day and I couldn't see straight. That's not an excuse. You gotta be able to shoot. So anyway, that's my background, and this is what I love. This is what I miss, and it hurts a little bit to miss it. Let's see who's here. It's not pre-recorded. I do read you. Hold on a second. This is not a replica. I'm here. I'm sorry you hear echoes. I know exactly why. There we go. There you go. You okay? Is the echo gone, guys? It's not pre-recorded. I'm here. Speak to me. Tell me something. Okay, good. Fixed your ears. Oh, everyone that I love. So many people I love are here. Suko. I don't think we've met Albowski, but Suko, I'm going to pay you some attention in just a second. Suko and Josie and Gabby. Oh, and then Hush Hush. Oh, people I love are here. It's wonderful to see me. Let me see me. It's wonderful to see me. Look how freaking arrogant I am. I'm happy to see you guys. Let me give you guys attention in order that you appeared here. All right, Suko. Like you said, let me check your ears. And while we talk, I'll talk about how you do it in austere medicine setting. So, I specifically got this model because it's really durable. I used to have this model. Come here, you. Can't find it. Here it is. Hold on just a second, Suko. But yeah, I'm going to give you guys some attention to all of the things. So I used to use this model. It breaks so easily. This stupid light Welsh Allen. I can't get it to work. It's hard for me to remember the buttons because it's cheap. It's cheap. It was cheap because I was poor. I was a poor medical student. And then there's this model of the eye scope. The problem with these sensitive devices, if you're in a wilderness setting, they are just gonna break. And then batteries is a nightmare. So, while this is very nice for sounds, I don't use these at all anymore. So instead, to check your ears in a wilderness setting, I've got this thing. I love this thing. I would totally be sponsored by them if they would let me. It does have a battery, but this is a rechargeable battery. So I can get my solar powered equipment and I can recharge it. And I don't have to worry about running out in a wilderness setting. You just unscrew this part. That's the light bulb. Am I scaring you? Come here, stupid screw. You unscrew it and there's a plug and you plug it into the wall. Having trouble with my plug. What happened to my plug? Do you know? Do you know why I'm having so much trouble? I don't know why I'm having so much trouble. Are you interested? Are you interested in it? Anyway, so this is better equipment and I like it, but of course you have to know how to unscrew things and not be a dum-dum like I am right now. And this I can switch out the heads. So this is a pretty solid head. You can hear it's still kind of plasticky, but it works, right? The main thing is you want the bottom equipment to work, right? It's really easy to use. Turn on the light and then we can check your ears. So let's look over here at this side. What I'm looking for when I'm checking your ears, and if you ever look at pictures of the inside of ears, what you're looking for is little bird is looking at your ear. I don't know if you see this, but she's looking at your ear as well. So what you're looking for is erythema or redness in the ear canal. You're looking for obstruction. You want to make sure the tympanic membrane is clear. You also want to make sure that when the tympanic membrane is white, it's not bulging, there isn't gunk behind it. So your ear looks good, Suko. Let me look on the other side, and of course Pistachio will help me. Over here, looking at your ear, no erythema, no edema, or swelling of the ear canal. It's not anything. Now, obviously, IRL, we put a tip on this because we wouldn't want you to be sharing little infections and things like that. They do make more solid reusable ones, which is better for a wilderness setting because I can boil it and it won't melt or anything, and so I can clean it off, or I can sterilize it with something like Cavi wipes. So this is what I would use for the wilderness setting. Alright, who's next? Who is next? It's your left ear. Okay, so Suko Albowski. This is not a replica Albowski. I am here for you. Now, let me just look at your head. I think that I just want to make sure that you don't have an injury on the top of your head, and I can show you how we do that. Alright, sweetie, I'm going to take this apart now. Put it away. I'm going to take it apart and put it away. May I have it? May I have this? I know, you just love this thing. You do. Oh, watch your foot. Your foot okay? Okay. Be careful. Careful, little foot. Step up. Excuse me. Can you get off of that thing? You're going to get your little foot stuck in there. Albowski did not say he has foot fungus. I'm going to look at his head. Hi, Half TV. I have so many people I have to get to. Alright, so Albowski, let me take a look at your head. You don't have foot fungus. Foot fungus in the wilderness is an interesting one. Foot care is really, really important for wilderness medicine. Since you brought it up, I will mention it. So it's so important to keep your feet dry, right? That's the most important thing. If you do end up developing trench foot is actually kind of similar to frostbite. It's almost like a wet frostbite. And you can start to lose sensation and the tissue begins to become white. I would carry corticosteroids with me. Like someone wants upside down cuddles. Upside down cuddles. Upside down cuddles. She's burrowing into my hand. So I would bring corticosteroids with me. Just little oral ones that people could take, prednisone, because that can help. You just want to make sure it's not getting all the way to the white phase, and then the worst phase is when it starts to like rot and go gangrenous. So the main thing with trench foot is temperature and having dry socks. That's the big thing that makes a difference. And then while they're in the healing period, I would have them elevate their feet as well and not put them inside anything. At the same time, you're very prone to things like funguses, right? Especially if you're in like a jungle environment. By the way, everything that I'm saying here is not for official medical advice. It's all medical information that you may not be able to get elsewhere. Just some good old-fashioned education. If you want official medical advice from me and you live in Virginia, you can email me. I can set you up very soon. I will also be open to people in Florida and Texas. And you can email me. And if you're international, I do international aid advice stuff all the time. It just depends on what your country's requirements are. But the main one is I can do education stuff. I can take care of you. If you want specific travel medicine advice for your travel medicine needs, or if you need programs or vaccines ordered, you should email me and we can figure out if that's something that I can do for you. But if not, I can at least give you this general information and we can be together and talk about it. Okay? So anyway, that's the story with foot fungus. It's always good to have a strong antifungal, terbinafine or something like that. It's good to have with you. So I like to bring that kind of stuff. Give me a second to plug in my PC. It looks like I didn't plug in when I showed up. So let me look at Albowski's little head, and I'll show you my little exams. Where's the other end of this? Is it plugged in? It is plugged in. Perfect. Okay. Let me just take a look at your head here. Now, sometimes you're in an austere environment, you don't have the chance to have gloves. Sometimes in an emergency, you may not even have hand sanitizer. It is best, though, if you can, to always bring some gloves in your pocket. So, it does depend. I've done the vast majority of my exams barehanded in my life because you can sense more when you're in their air. So usually what I'll do is I'll hand sanitize, carry some sanitizer or something like that. And you check. You're checking the scalp. You're checking for abrasions, lesions. Now I do an additional check because I'm trained in osteopathic manipulation therapy, which most MDs are not trained in. I am an MD, but usually it's only DOs that are trained in that. But what I'll do when I check the scalp also, if I'm not looking for specific injuries, I will check for tension, and I can actually feel here, like at the back of the head, if your scalp is tightening up, and the muscles like oxygen are tightening up, you can head in. And what I can do is I can use tension because I know the points, I know how to move the tissue, and I can actually help with tension headaches. But your head looks great, Albowski. Alright, so then the next person is Josie. Hi there, Josie. Pistachio is checking my scalp. Hi there, Josie. How you doing today? I hope your move went really well. Let's do the next thing. Let's check your eyes. Okay. Now, this is not the order of so I'm just giving you guys a little bit of love and attention within the theme. And just kind of showing you how we would do out here in a wilderness setting. Are we going to fly away? Is my head going to fly away? But in reality, if I see an emergency situation, I'm actually going through what's called the March algorithm. M-A-R-C-H. Ah, no, not my eye. No. No. I love you. MARCH is the algorithm that you kind of memorize for an emergency situation. So what we do is we come up first, do they have massive hemorrhage? Obviously this is a military acronym, military people. We love our acronyms. So MARCH, M stands for massive hemorrhage, A stands for airway, R stands for respiration, C is circulation, H is hypothermia, right? So I'm going to take these gloves off because somebody's going to poke a hole in them. I guess it doesn't matter, right? These are my roleplay gloves. But I don't want you to eat them. And then within the roleplay, you've made them all dirty. Birds do carry some infectious diseases. Mine does not. She's been tested and cleared by the vet. We have all her tests and everything. But they can carry what's called zoonotic diseases. The big one that you want to think about with birds is psittacosis, which is a kind of chlamydia that gets into your lungs. Makes you really sick. Birds that have that, though, you can tell that they're sick because they'll be like losing their feathers, they'll be kind of limp and funny looking, and they can give you sickness. But anyway, so the algorithm, March, I'm glad your move went well. The March algorithm is kind of what we go through to think through an emergency situation. Obviously, the first thing we start up, and you guys should totally check this out, you can download the Deployment Medicine app, even if you're, oh, why'd you poo there? Even if you're not like a soldier or military, you can download the Deployment Medicine app. It's called Deployment Medicine, and it has the trauma, combat, casualty care guidelines in it. Really fantastic stuff to know for any kind of serious emergency, especially as we live in a time when like more and more people are just running around killing each other and shooting each other. That's always been the way, but it just feels like it's more now because of the way the news makes things too noisy. And tries to exacerbate the issues, but it's certainly good to know what to do in an active shooter situation. It's certainly going to help you. And this is kind of the medical aspect of it, so definitely download the Deployment Medicine app. So that's the order we would go in. So first I would check those things before doing a specific exam to your complaint, and I might even just do a check visually if you haven't been in like a combat situation or you didn't just have a fight with a panther or whatever it is. Then we would go in order. So, but Josie, I just want to check the skin on your face really quick. Just really quick. I just want to make sure there's nothing on your face here. So I'm just going to kind of take a look right here. And let's see. What I'm looking for here is I'm just checking to see if there's any bumps and lumps and things like that. Any papilla, macula are the tiny flat lesions. Papilla are tiny raised bumps, pustules are things that are oozing goo. And of course there's things like blisters that are larger, or boils that are full of liquid. None of that on your face. Why do I need to touch your face? Well, because I'm looking for what's called tenderness. No, get off Josie's face. I'm checking for tenderness. So tenderness is different than pain, and that tenderness is an objective finding. When we go through our medical exam notes, we write what's called a SOAP note. It starts with subjective, objective, then the assessment and plan. And that's how your doctor usually, it's the standard for writing medical notes. So when you write the S, the subjective, you write what the patient says. The patient says, I have something in my face right here because there's a bird standing on my ear. Right? That's what the patient says. Tenderness is an objective finding. If I press on your face and you wince, or there's a physical response to pain, that's your tenderness. That's something objective that I can check versus what you just told me. So, do you want to get the gloves off? Do you want to explore back here? Check it out. There's all kinds of cool stuff back there. Look at this really neat glass. Yeah. So, alright, that was Josie. Josie. Alright, next person, supervision. Grumpy Gabs. Hi there, Grumpy Gabs. Oh, if Darwin could see is here too. I'm going to answer all your questions. I don't know if you're back yet, Gabby. I think you probably left. So we'll go ahead and do Hush Hush, and then when Gabby comes back. So Hush Hush had a question about vaccination. The process is really simple, depending on your state. What you do is you look online for vaccination centers near you. Things like Walgreens, HEB are doing them. I got mine done at HEB instead of through the military because it was faster. Because I didn't have to wait in a long line. But you just check and make sure they actually have a CDC app to make sure you're eligible. That's the process. I very, very strongly recommend the Pfizer. Very, very strongly. Again, this is not specific medical advice to anybody. So all vaccines, like all medicines, come with a risk, right? There have been 2,000 vaccine deaths in the United States. That's reported, right? And people are reporting a lot more now because it's a highly politicized pandemic. Usually only about 1% of vaccine deaths are reported. You compare that population who got those bad reactions to the vaccine, compare those to the study population or to the general population, which has a much higher risk of dying from COVID instead. Even then, that risk is about 1 to 2%. So your risk of dying from COVID is about 1 to 2%, unless you're older or you have obesity. If you have obesity, you can be a 30-year-old and die easily with obesity. I think one of the reasons the U.S. population has suffered so many deaths is that we are a very unhealthy population. We don't exercise. We're all inside. We have a lot of chronic medical conditions. And so we've had a much, much higher death rate than would be expected because of that. So you have to take that into account when you think about your COVID risk, right? So for example, I have someone who has a high risk of getting a blood clot because of COVID. I recommended them to get the Pfizer vaccine because the Pfizer vaccine did a really good trial with 41,000 people from all different countries. You can look it up on PubMed yourself. It was funded by the company, but I couldn't even find the Moderna one. The Moderna study doesn't even come up on PubMed, which I think is telling, right? So like they're not doing a super good job sharing their results with the world. And I didn't like that. And I didn't like how Moderna, there were people in the government who got money because they have patents with Moderna. Moderna's also never made a vaccine before. All that said, the Moderna vaccine does have, I think it's a 95% success rate. And there are people who are saying that, like, and I just found this out yesterday, my husband was reading this isn't medical information, but there are people who are theorizing that the reason the Moderna success rate is lower is because they did their testing later when there was already a second strain. I don't know, to me that sounds like excuses. I really like the Pfizer rate. They have the highest success rate. They also have the broadest age range. And when I read the clinical trial, I was very impressed because they didn't just vaccinate and check for immediate reactions. They followed the people several months out. So if you were going to get a blood clot, they would have known, right? So that's why, I don't like the Johnson & Johnson or the AstraZeneca. I think almost any time that you require continual supply of fetal stem cells, it's very difficult to control the science, and you're going to have issues. Whereas if you use like something like mRNA, it's a little bit more specific, a little bit more controlled. The way they use the spike protein seems really cool, and it works, right? The theory is not as important as the actual did it work, right? And the Pfizer vaccine trial did work. They had one guy out of 41,000 people who died of a heart attack, not related to the vaccine. He already had that issue, right? And so they're very honest with their reporting. I like honesty. Pfizer also has produced they produced the polio vaccine, which has eradicated polio, basically. It was a very mean vaccine, but it got the job done. They produced the DTaP vaccine. All vaccines have risks, but Pfizer has been producing vaccines for a long time. They know what they're doing. And the question is always risk-benefit. Is your risk of dying from the disease worse than the risk for the vaccine? And for most people, the answer is yes. The disease is going to be much worse for you than the vaccine. If you have a family history of vaccine reactions, that's a different issue. Again, this is not specific medical advice. And it's possible all vaccines almost all of them carry the risk of ITP, where your body just chooses to react against it and be naughty. That is so, so rare. You're more likely to be hit by a cold. You're more likely to die of COVID. All these things are much, much more likely. So I really like the Pfizer vaccine. You can find it online. I'm not paid by them in any way. I wish. That would be a lot of money. But I like the Pfizer vaccine the best. That's the one I trust. That's the one I got. And I didn't have any kind of reaction to it. I react much more poorly to the flu shot. After the flu shot, I felt sick for several days and my arm was really hurting. Maybe it's just because I'm always in pain, so I can't tell. But with the COVID vaccine, I didn't feel anything. I mean, it was super, super easy for me. So I like it. I like the Pfizer. I haven't had the second one yet, so I don't know. Maybe that's worse. But the first one did nothing to me, and I'm really sensitive to vaccines. My family does have a history of vaccine reactions, and I still got it. I have a little brother who had significant febrile seizures after the DTP vaccine. So I'm very, very, very familiar with like vaccine reactions and people's concerns. And even with that familiarity, I felt that the science leads to it's best idea to vaccinate, and that the Pfizer is the way to go. So that's the one I like. Hi, Pouncinator. So I hope that answered your question, Hush Hush. But you literally just find it online, and they should have it near you. It was that easy for me. I got an appointment the same day. I went in, it said 12:45. I went in and got vaccinated at 12:45, and I was out, and I had no issues. So I'm sorry that the shot made you sick, if Darwin could see. Suko, that's a good question. Should I cut my hair short? What do you guys think? And to answer your question, Klumpakis, good to see you too. I'll pay you a little attention in a second as well. To answer your question, this is actually exactly what the military tents look like that I used to work in. It was my favorite time I was ever in the military, was in these tents. It's my favorite thing in the whole world. And the picture of the jungle is actually an actual jungle that I've been to as well. I just edited in the background of the door so it would look prettier. It's my beautiful little jungle. What do you guys think? Should I cut my hair short? Let me know. I was thinking about growing it long and getting a blue streak in it as soon as I get out of the military. Get out of the military, try some of the medical treatments for fibromyalgia that I'm not allowed to try while in the military. Get a blue streak in my hair and maybe get healthy again, you know? That's my thought. I'm glad I answered your question. Good. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. You guys don't like control my life, but I really care about what you guys think. I do like all my makeup and stuff like for you, to make a relaxing situation for you, to make you feel happy and safe, and so you have something kind of nice to look at. Alright, if Darwin could see, let me take a look at where you got your vaccine. Let me just take a look at your vaccine site. Let's just take a look. Let me just look at your arm here. Let's see. Let me just look at your shoulder. So what I'm looking for vaccine reactions is I'm trying to see, is it raised, is it red? Some of that is going to be okay, but if I see what's called spreading erythema, or I see like shooting streaks, then I'm concerned about an infection in the site. Also looking, I don't want to see that you have a rash or little dots going around it. You don't. I do see that there's some tenderness. When I poke on your arm, you kind of wince a little bit. I'm sorry about that. Because your body is the newest front in a war. That's what's happening. But otherwise, the vaccine site looks good. Alright, Pouncinator. Let me, Klumpakis actually is first. Klumpakis was before. So it's good to see you, Klumpakis. You didn't email me yet about your tea. You get a free tea, and you gotta email me because you came up on the list. Little bird likes tea. So this is peppermint ginger green. So I'm gonna make you some tea, Klumpakis. Since you haven't emailed me, we're still gonna make it happen. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this little, and I'm gonna make you some green tea with ginger pieces in it, organic peppermint. It's all cruelty free. And we're going to scoop some of this out. We're just going to scoop some of this out. Listen to that sound. Scoop some of this out. And we put it in here. And then we just put this right in here like this. Just like that. And then we're going to pour some water into it. And make you some lovely loose leaf tea. Now, caffeine is not very good for birds because they can overdose on it, so I'm going to try to keep her... Can you not? Can you not? Hello, can you not? You don't need so much caffeine, honey. I'll make you a cup of water in a second. There's your tea. We're going to go ahead and pour some water in there. See that? Perfect. And then we'll let it sit. I'm just going to give this to you. Let it sit 3 to 5 minutes for a green tea. I have the temperatures listed on the back of every single one for how long you should brew. So 180 Fahrenheit and steep. They say 1 to 2 minutes because this can be a little delicate. If you do it a little cooler, then I would do 3 to 5 minutes. But I'm going to let this seep for you, Compacus. I'm just going to set this right down here next to you. No! Don't steal Compacus's drink. Here, I'll give you your own drink. Bird gets to drink out of a very fancy vessel here. There you go. There you go, honey. You want some? Want some water? Water's inside. There you go. Little drinking bird. There you go. See, I'm not mean. I just don't want you to have tea, okay? I just don't want you to overdose on caffeine. Look at her drinking. Isn't she cutie? I feel like people stay on the stream just for the birds. I feel like people don't love me. Here, you want to play with that? You can play over here. You can stand on that. Yeah, you can play with that. See if you can reach in there. Alright. Tea, tea, tea. Tea for Compacus. Alright, and then Pouncinator is next. So, Compacus, while your tea is brewing, I'm going to see about Pouncinator. So, for Pouncinator, let's talk a little bit about... What are you doing? Let's talk about makeshift tourniquets. So, the tourniquet that I like to use in the military setting is the Cat 7. It's a really easy to use tourniquet, and it wraps around. It's got Velcro, it tightens really easily, and then it's got a really nice winch, so that you can wind it and tighten it. A winch is a woman, a winch is a windlass type tightening thing. No, that's Pouncinator's tea. I mean Compacus's tea. Yeah. I love you. I love you, you little teepee. We're talking about tourniquets now. Did you know that? Thank you for the kisses, but let go of my nose. I'm talking about tourniquets now. So, what if you have nothing? So the most important thing is you can't just tie a knot. That's not going to do it. What's the most important thing is you have to have some kind of stick that you can rotate. So the nice thing about the military is we have belts. Belt tourniquets are not very strong, but what you can do is you can use cloth. You can use their outer shirt, not this shirt, the other shirt, although this shirt would also work. And then what you can do is they're still wearing their belt, and you can use that to help to stabilize the tourniquet. So for example, on your leg right here, and I'm just going to show you, it's a demonstration, you're not actually bleeding, you're fine. I'm going to show you so that you know how, okay? Okay, Pouncinator. So here on your leg, it's so hard to take me seriously when I've got a bird dangling from my hair, isn't it? Oh good, hush hush, that makes me happy. And Phi 6, we're going to see you. So Compacus, all YouTubers have a business email listed in their account. Well, all YouTubers who want money have a business email listed on their about page. If you go to my about page, not only can you get my email, you can also get my Wizio, where I do custom videos for you guys if you want them. You'll also see my secret links where I will give away all kinds of stuff for you. I'm giving away things like free sci-fi, and I mean like good sci-fi, like stuff that, I'm professionally published with Kevin J. Anderson's company, so not like dumb whatever sci-fi, although it's all in the mind of the reader, right, if you like it or not. I'm giving that away. I give away tickets to the relaxation club. So my about page is a treasure trove. If you want to know more about me, or you want to contact me, or you want stuff from me, or you want to give me money or any kind of thing like that, the about page is perfect. And the relaxation club is awesome. Every week you get new information from this. Like, I'm working on this, like, basically relaxation science tome. And as I work on making that, I'm sharing the information with you. So it's pretty rad. So yeah, do that. So, and come back, because you don't even have to give me your address for the tea. You can just go to the tea. You just have to email me so that I can send you the little coupon or ticket. Hush can tell you it'll take off 100%, or yeah, I think Hush can tell you it'll take off 100% of the cost, and then you just go to the store, put in the coupon, and it's 100% off any of the teas that you like, except I think not the matcha. So, because it's kind of expensive. Well, I mean, they're all kind of expensive. They're very nice teas, so you can definitely get that tea. So, okay, so Pouncinator, looking at making tourniquets. No, you can't have that. You have your own water. You have your own water. Look, water. Yeah, see? I know you're not actually thirsty. Because if you're actually thirsty. Alright, Clumpacus, I'm just going to give you your tea right here for you to sip, and you can go ahead and sip it. Well, let's take this thing out, right? It's been steeping long enough. No. Step up. Get off. Let go. Let go, young lady. I know, I'm an angry bird. Angry and bit me bird, did you see that? So we have this little thing that was made in Korea, and what we're going to do is we're going to take this off, and we're just going to set this right on there. And we're going to put it up where a little bird can't have it. And then you can sip your tea. Look how beautiful and dark it is. It's so lovely. You can go ahead and sip here. And you can sip over here on the other side. You can go ahead. You're American. You can chug your tea. If you're not American, you can still chug your tea. It's a joke. And that's your tea. So the tea is Canadian. So it ships from Canada. I have shipped all the way out to, I've shipped to a lot of places in Europe. If you're in Australia, it is a little bit far. So I appreciate that. If you don't want it, I will ship somewhere else, or I will drink it myself. Let me tell you though, I am going to be working with an Australian company soon, so that we can open up and send more tea in Australia and stuff like that, so that'll be cool. I'm also just about to get the coolest flower tea into the inventory, and I will show you. It's a tea that blooms, and I'm going to get a beautiful little glass cup to show you. And I think that's going to be really cool. I think that'll make a really cool little trend. So I'm excited for that. It's perfect for ASMR because you have the careful meditation of watching it. You have the tea itself can help, like, be calming and kind of get your nerves ready for that tingly sensation. So it's like, it's going to be just the perfect ASMR experience. Lithuania. I have sent very close to Lithuania before. But yes, if you'd like to hold back, that's fine. It's up to you. But you are a winner. Alright, so Pouncinator, let me show you. So if we're making a makeshift tourniquet, you'll see in the videos a lot of times I will use a bandana. You can look at the cup now, it's empty. I drank all the tea. Ha ha ha. Or Clumpacus drank all the tea. No tea for you. Let me make sure there's no tea leaves left that you can chew on. Okay. There you go. So what I'll do is I will roll and tighten the tourniquet, or your makeshift tourniquet, right? Because obviously it's best to be prepared with a real tourniquet. But if you can't have one, have one of these. What I'll do is I'll then wrap it around the offending limb, right? You want it to be really high and tight, the first tourniquet. When you're not under fire, you can do a tourniquet closer to where the injury is, especially if it's, a big arterial bleed. So it would maybe be from here. But otherwise you don't know where it's from. So you want to be high and tight, but not exactly on the shoulder. So especially when there's a lot of blood. And what you're going to do is, you see this section here, you're going to put a stick in between here. So what I would do if it was on your, like it's on your leg, I would do the same thing, high and tight on your leg. And right here, when it comes to the cross, I actually would use something like this sword. And then I would use the sword to twist and tighten. You see that? See how that tightens? Right? And that means that it's going to get tighter and tighter and tighter. Oops. And then what I would do to secure it is I would tuck the top end under your belt so that this stays really tight on your leg, but on your military belt, this stays and it won't come unspinning, because that would kill you if it comes unspinning and then you start bleeding again. As you can see, my sword requires repair. It requires a little bit of repair. I don't love the sounds it makes, but it's a very special sword. It was gifted to me at my wedding by my dad. My great-grandfather obtained it he was a Japanese soldier and he obtained it in China. I don't believe the Japanese should have been in China at that time. I believe that what we did was not good in China. I think it's important to recognize the bad things your ancestors have done while also recognizing the good things. And this is kind of a reminder to me of, I'm so privileged to have had the ancestry I have, and at the same time, I have to live more honorably even than my ancestors did, and do better while taking from them everything I can. So I have this always with me. In the wedding, it was a symbol. So I'm part Japanese, but we took symbols from all over the world in our wedding. And in Korea, at one point in time, in the very distant country land, what they will do is a woman is given a knife by her father, and at her wedding she gives it to her husband. So it's like a symbol. I think it's just so cool because she has the knife, she's able to protect herself, but she entrusts him with being part of her protection and being, I think it's just a very egalitarian, interesting way of doing things. And so this was the sword my father gave me, and then I handed it to my husband at my wedding. So it has a lot of, personal and family history in it. The tang needs to be repaired. It has a hidden tang that has come loose. Okay, that's enough chewing on my ancestry sword. Thank you. So anyway, that's how I would do a large stick or something like that on your leg, just like that, Pouncinator. Let's take it off though, because I know it's very painful to have those on there. If a tourniquet doesn't hurt, it's not working. So, but before we take it off, just to show you that it's working, let me check your pulse down here. Check your pulse down here. And we don't want to do, so we want to check the dorsalis pedis pulse. Okay. And I check down here and just make sure that you are okay. So, and yes, I'm an MD. And Grumpy Gabs, it is going to be your turn now. So that's how you do Pouncinator. That's how we'll do with the tourniquet. I'm going to take your tourniquet off now, though, because I know that's very uncomfortable. But that's the demonstration. So I had at one point, as you guys know, I've been a military doctor for a while. When we do these demonstrations for the medics, I think it's really important to understand people's histories and to be careful and be very good at stopping when someone says to stop. So I appreciate your permission to put this tourniquet on you and take it off. I had one sexual assault victim who had been held down and assaulted. When she was taking her class for knowing how to do tourniquets, they put tourniquets on all of her limbs, and she felt held down, and she had a flashback. She dissociated out of herself, and she started choking the medic, and she couldn't control it. She was like watching it like it was a movie. It was like she was seeing a movie of herself choking the guy. She couldn't stop it because she was having a PTSD flashback, basically, to being held down and assaulted. So, like, it's hard to know what's going to trigger somebody. At the same time, we have to do these kind of demonstrations, and they have to be real, and the tourniquet has to be tight, it has to be painful, or it's not real, it doesn't work. So the best way to do it is to always talk and get consent. And when she was saying, hey, get off of my leg, he should have gotten off her leg faster. He should have immediately gotten off, and that would have would have protected and alleviated the situation. And it's probably a good idea not to practice tourniquets on all the limbs. That's not necessary. You just need to do one to demonstrate, just like I did for you, Pouncinator, just now. So let's give Grumpy Gabs some love, and we'll continue going down the list. Again, the theme today is wilderness medicine. I'm going to repeat again because I have some different viewers, but I am an actual physician, but nothing that I say here can be official medical advice for you. It is military education. I am a military physician. I've done operational medicine. However, my deployments haven't been like the most hardcore. It's mostly been like education, teaching medics. Most of my hardcore experience has been in sexual assault. So just so you know my background, I don't have so much background. My austere medicine experience was at NDC in the desert in tents. But I haven't lived in the Middle East. My deployment was to Korea, and then I went to NDC. And then I had very bad health problems, and my real military career has been kind of cut short. But all of this has been in preparation for trying to establish a clinic with Needy and Paracord. So if you guys want, you can help me this summer. I'm trying to see a trip where I'm going to have a nurse go down there. She's going to work with me virtually. She's going to be like my hands, and I'm going to help her purchase medicine. So we're going to do prescribing agreement, and we're going to get things taken care of. It's going to be fantastic. Do you like whispering? Is whispering making you go to sleep? Are you okay? Here, step up on my shoulder. You can sleep on my shoulder. Step, tip, tip, tip. Sneaky little girl, step on my shoulder. Step up. Thank you. So if you want, you can always, contact the people at Project Paracord and let them know, hey, I'd like to help pay for medications. That's certainly something you're welcome to do. That's going to be, and you can always email them if the page isn't working, because I think the PayPal page no longer allows you to select that you want to give to the medical fund. They are a religious organization. I know some people don't want to give to the religious fund, and that's totally cool. If you just want to give to the medical fund, you just gotta let them know. So just email them and tell them, and they're very good. Like I've worked with them for, I don't know, almost 15 years now, going down to Paraguay and helping people. I've done the medical part of things. I'm officially their medical director. Going down and doing medical stuff, giving people medications, helping people out with their problems. Do you like whispering? I love whispering. Whisper, whisper, whisper. Whisper into the bird. So you're welcome to check that out. But I hope that answered your question about me being an MD. That's the story. That's what I am. So that's where my experience comes from. So today, as we're doing this kind of fun, I know you guys have liked my wilderness medicine videos in the past, so today we're doing kind of a chill wilderness medicine education video where I'm going to do wilderness medicine style exams on each of you, demonstrate something each time, and then we're going to review this survival book together, and I'm really excited about spending this time with you. I think it's good. It's going to be good for you. So, Grumpy Gabs, it's your turn. Thank you so much for being here, by the way. Guys, all of the necklaces that I wear in the role plays in the videos, the really cool out-of-this-world necklaces, they're all made by Grumpy Gabs. Grumpy Gabs, if you would put your Instagram handle in the chat so people can check it out. You actually should post pictures of your necklaces to your Instagram. But any of the necklaces that you guys saw in my sci-fi video about the rogue, the one with the gunshots at the beginning, which is not super relaxing and was a bad choice on my part. I'll link to it right here. All of those videos, all of those necklaces are actually for sale, except for one. So here, I'm going to link to the video. You can watch the video, and I show every single gorgeous necklace in the video, and it's a fun, relaxing sci-fi. After the beginning, there's a spaceship flying around. I worked really hard on that intro. I worked so hard on that introduction, and people didn't like it because you know, it's gunshots. Not everyone goes to sleep to gunshots. I do, because I live near the military base, and so there's always explosions and gunshots in the middle of the night when people are practicing. And then at 5 p.m. every day, there's the stupid song that you have to salute to, and then when I go to sleep, I listen to music that has gunshots at the end, so I fall asleep to gunshots. So I'm so sorry. So if you don't like that, you can skip the video. It was stupid of me because I know that some of you guys have actual like combat-related PTSD. Why would I put gunshots at the beginning of a video? Very, very stupid. Could have just simulated it with the video. Yeah, exactly. Bad ASMR, good theatrics. I've thought even about taking the video down and editing out that sound, but I'm not going to do that. We're just going to blaze forward. And in the future, there won't be gunshots. If I do have to have guns or something at the beginning, it's going to be no sounds. It's going to be like music or something like that. Yeah, I was really having fun with the theatrics of it. So definitely check that out. All those necklaces Gabby actually sells. So, all right, Gab. So, what's wrong with you today? Ooh, let's talk about makeshift splints in the wilderness. Your leg is not actually broken. Your leg looks beautiful. You look so healthy and strong. I know that your back hurts sometimes. Let me just take a gentle look at your back. I'm just gonna take a look at your back here. You're gonna feel my fingers running along your spine. The emergency things I'm looking for when I check out somebody's back is I'm trying to see if there's any vertebral step off or any vertebral tenderness. Usually the pain is paraspinal, which is the muscles next to the spine. I'm also going to have you bend over a little bit, just so that I can check for scoliosis. Thank you. What I do is I run my hand along your spine and see if there's any ripples or things like that. Your beautiful spine. And then because I am OMT trained, what I do is I check and feel for tension. I was just checking and feel. I noticed that by your scapula there's a lot of tension because you've been working hard. So a lot of tension back behind there. The same thing on this side. A lot of tension, a lot of tension, a lot of tension. And then down by your hips also there seems to be a little bit of tension. So what I do also is I check for like chiropractic type stuff, like if your spine is a little bit rotated, and then we can like crack it and put it back. Look, this bird looks like basically dead. She's so chilled out. ASMR works really well on animals. You just have to do the right kind. Cinnamon hates it. Cinnamon, my cockatiel, he hates ASMR. Makes him really upset. And there's some people, right? There's some people that can't stand whispering. He's like that. Like if you start whispering or tapping next to you, he will attack you. One time I was making those tapping sounds for Mango, for my lovebird. And he came over and tried to attack me, and she stopped him. She like charged him because she was liking her ASMR and she did not want him to take it away from her. So that was, I had to separate them. You tried to befriend a serval. That's crazy. Ooh, since you got scratched up, let's not do splints. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about basically cat wounds in the wilderness. So the first thing you want to look at is you want to check and see that the bleeding is stilled. In this case, looking at your arm, it looks like your bleeding has been stilled. If your bleeding has not been stilled, it's always possible to add some hemostat. This is a Silox powder. It's a clotting powder right up in there. So that's always possible. There's actually better things. There's a combat gauze that's been impregnated with a clotting agent, and that is fantastic. Can I have you get off this hand? Thank you, sweetie. Thank you, good bird. So there's a clotting agent. Look, it's like a gun, like pointing this bird at you. You will be attacked by cuteness. So there's a clotting agent that's been impregnated into the gauze, and that's my favorite. That's the one you just stuff that in. I think that's what the Ranger units are still using. Silox is okay, but it's not the preferred method because it doesn't fill the space in a way that you can use it to hold pressure. So stuff in the wound. Now this doesn't look like a very deep wound. It looks superficial. So what I would want to do is bind it up and make sure that there's air. I wouldn't want to sew it shut. You only want to sew things shut. So we're really moving away from sewing things, and you definitely don't want to sew up animal bites because they're almost always infected, and you don't want to lock the infection in. The only reason you ever want stitches now is if it won't stop bleeding, and you need to make it so it'll keep bleeding, or if there's going to be a cosmetic problem, like on the face, if it's going to like scar, you want to try to prevent it from scarring by preventing that middle tissue from growing, and so you want to build. Actually, I have a scar on my lip. I don't know if you can see, and it's not a cool story. It's a very silly story, and I'm going to tell it to you now so you can laugh at me. But I have always been very like, I can do anything kind of person for no reason at all sometimes. Sometimes for very good reason, but my little brother, I grew up with 5 brothers, and then I have some younger sisters, but most of my growing up was with boys. And I had a glass, and I was drinking at the kitchen table, and my brother was like observing, and he was like, wow, glass is actually really hard against your teeth. And I was like, no, it's not. Chomp. And I bit through the glass because I was demonstrating my superiority, showing my little brother that like I could teeth. And so then I bit through the glass, and I had blood all over my face, but I had no idea because I was looking at my mom and she looked horrified, and I was like, oh no, Mom, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to break the glass. She didn't care about the glass. She was worried that I had blood all over my face. Went to the bathroom and cleaned it off. I have a tiny little scar on my lip. I don't know if you can see it right there. Tiny little scar. It's a little white scar. You can just barely see it on the camera. So, yep. Yeah, exactly. Wilderness education. I am working on my fellowship of advanced wilderness medicine. And I would love to do more teaching with you guys in this setting, just kind of educate you a little bit. I don't know, maybe eventually I can make an official like video series that you guys can have, and we can I don't use that as an education certification. Your dumbest scars from bee sting. So there we go, Gabby. So looking at your cat wound, just kind of brushing it off. The main thing is to get some antibiotics, right? And I actually have a little thing that I keep nearby to help me remember, because you can basically remember which antibiotics you want for which injury. I always keep doxycycline. That would be my recommended. I don't have any now, so we'll give you some doxycycline. This is not what actual doxycycline looks like. It's usually a little tablet or a little capsule. It depends. Give you doxycycline, 100 milligrams, twice a day is what I would give you if I was in an austere setting. If I had the ideal situation, I would probably give you Augmentin just like I would for a pig bite, because they both carry like Pasteurella and some of these other type things. So we will just want to kind of wrap it up. So I'm going to kind of wrap it up here. Just kind of wrap up here. Make sure it's clean. We're going to clean it out as much as we can first. So I'm going to squirt some water on it. I don't know if you can hear the squirting. And then wipe it off and wrap it up. And there you go, Gabby. You are going to be just fine. Yes, Gabby's going to be fine. Gabby's going to be fine. All right, who's next? So many wonderful people that I'm so behind on. I think physics was next, or hush hush. Hush hush, have I paid you any attention yet? I think not. I was Pouncinator, I already did Compacus, now it's hush hush and physics. Are you happy? Are you happy? I'm glad you're happy. I'm so glad. I like hearing you happy with your happy little squeaks. Yes. No, don't lick my... That's not good. Don't lick that. That's gross. Yes, that's gross. Gross. Don't be gross. Lick on my nose now. Thank you. Don't be gross. It's not very good wilderness medicine education. Mimi! Mimi! What I want to do is I want to join the Texas Falconry Association, but you have to have a lot of energy because you have to follow someone around, because it'd be really cool to be able to hunt in the wilderness using birds. I think that would be awesome, but we'd have to be very careful because they would eat you. I had a bird get eaten by a hawk right in front of me. It was horrific. It felt so terrible. I'm sure the bird didn't feel good either. The hawk was happy. Just stood there eating my bird in front of me. There was nothing I could do about it because I couldn't reach that tree. There were no rocks I could throw. My bird was dead. So, that sucked. Had a lot of silly adventures. Silly adventures. Alright, so hush hush. I'm glad it helped your nerves. Let's talk about, I actually just got an alert from Adventure Med about psychology in the wilderness. So, as always, my favorite tricks when you're in a new situation and you're really discouraged or stressed out, it's really important to be in the moment. Mindfulness techniques help. They've become very popular among psychologists. I know that they're also very popular among like woo-woo, like fake psychology, like magic, stealing your energy, blah, 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 blah. I'm kind of scientific, so I don't mean to like make fun of people. I believe weird stuff too, so I don't want to make fun of people for believing weird stuff. Everyone believes. You get to know someone long enough, you will find something weird that they believe that maybe is not super scientific. So I get it. I know I believe weird stuff too. But I think that psychology should be evidence-based. And unfortunately, some people still, in pop psychology, feel like kind of like Freudian or psychoanalysis type stuff, where the evidence is with things like CBT. DBT has really good evidence. Interpersonal dynamic therapy has good evidence. Like, you gotta look at the outcomes, right? Do people commit less suicide? Maybe people don't feel better, but do they kill themselves less? That's very important, right? So in the wilderness, your big stressors are going to be unusual situations, and if you're in a very bad situation, there is going to be a survival side to it. Hush hush, just since you brought up nerves, this is what we'll talk about for you. So there was an interesting study, and this is not a study I can find on PubMed. This was a ranger station study. So to check my facts on this, I guess you have to go to like the Park Service. But there was a study that I read about in this book called Deep Survival, which is I disagree with some of the, like, when he gets into like this woo-woo theory stuff that doesn't have any evidence behind it. I'm not in love with that. But the actual scientific stuff is super rad. So there was a study that found that people who die, I'm just going to ask you, what age group do you think survives the best in the wilderness when they get lost? The answer may shock you. The age group that survives best in the wilderness is actually little babies under 6, because they maintain their instincts and they don't wander. Teenagers from 7 and up, you have the lowest survival rate, and then of course adults. So it's little babies survive better, not babies, not infants obviously, but toddlers up to 6 years old have the highest survival rate. Then you have adults, and then you have teenagers and young people die the most. Why? The teenagers and the young people have lost their survival instincts that they had as little ones. That's kind of the theory behind it. And they wander and freak out. And the adults may have some knowledge. The teenagers don't have that knowledge yet. So you've kind of gone from instinct into knowledge, and the teenagers just don't have either knowledge or survival instincts. The little babies have a little survival instinct, and they don't go anywhere. They don't wander. Once they realize they're lost, they sit down, maybe they cry, and then maybe they curl up in a log and hide, and then they stay there. So they find food immediately where they are. They don't wander, and because they don't have the capacity to freak out the same way, right? Psychologically, the teenagers and the older children, they wander around in circles trying to find somebody, and they get further and further away from the initial point, which is where the rescuers would look. So once you realize you're lost, the problem is admitting you're lost. And this is where adults have a problem, is admitting, like, I can't find my way back. I need to stop here so that rescuers can find me, rather than getting more lost. And the problem is that people don't do that. People just, they keep looking, you have to admit it. I'm lost. I don't know where I am. I need to set up shelter and food. And that's what the little babies do. They prioritize their needs. So they crawl into a log and hide from animals, and then they get food, and they find what's nearby. Now, this balances with the fact that little ones are more likely to be poisoned in the wilderness, like most ingestions and things like that, plant ingestions and poisonings, are young children. And then the other big peak in poisonous ingestions is adults who are like exploring things. Like you have people who are mushroom hunters who have no business being mushroom hunters. I say this as someone who has hunted mushrooms before. When I do my mushroom identification, I have a book, and every single mushroom I go through a long checklist. It takes a very long time to hunt mushrooms. I don't just like pluck and eat. Every single mushroom I have to identify, inspect, and go through the entire checklist to make sure it's the species that I think it is. And that's like, and I've gathered huge bags. I took like all the mushrooms that were on my base in Korea. People called me a witch doctor or a shaman because someone saw me all in black gathering mushrooms like a freaking witch. I don't know if you've ever been called a witch before, but I have. People thought I was weird. People wanted to, I don't know. There's this like kind of bullying award that people give in the CAV, and they wanted to give that to me for being weird, for having Spanish in my voicemail, which I have because I'm bilingual and my patients are bilingual. I don't know, they just didn't understand, and they caught me outside in the wilderness talking to a bird as well. Someone saw me doing that, and I was making sounds back at this bird, so people thought I was really weird. I am just me. This is what I do. I look at the wilderness. I try to understand it, and yeah, I might make sounds to birds. That's a thing that I might do. And yeah, I might get mushrooms, but point being, mushroom hunting, you need to not. Don't. And like, I literally only gather one species of mushroom. I have gathered one specimen from a second species. Why? Because I know how to identify that species. It's not, oh, I'm going to take this mushroom and find out what it is. No, I'm going to leave it unless it fits all of the points on my checklist. So that's another spike. People die because they're eating stuff they have no business eating. I also never cooked those mushroom dishes for anyone else because it's on me, I'm not going to kill someone else. And mushroom poisoning is a very painful way to die. It's basically anti-muscarinic toxins, which means it binds to like everything. It's kind of like a nerve agent, and it's miserable. So very painful. You'll feel very sick gastrointestinally as well, and you'll die like paralyzed. Basically, it won't be fun. Brain will shut down. So don't. So that's the other spike. So, but this study found, despite the tendency that little children have to gather weird stuff, they tend to survive more and they tend to be found more. So, and that could also be because of contact, right? When a little child is lost, everyone knows that they lost a child. An adult who gets lost might be lost in the woods for a little bit of time before people realize, like, hey, John was supposed to call me, right? So, especially because like young single people like to go out in the woods. So that's another thing. Psychologically, the herd is protected. The herd is protected. Making sure that somebody in the herd knows where you are is good for your brain. Another psychological point in the wilderness, I was reading about a couple survivors of, like, they got drifted out to sea on a raft. And they had serious shark attacks. And one guy went crazy because they were out in the sea a long time. He got very angry, and he yelled at the other people on the boat, and then he said, I'm going out for cigarettes, like, fuck you guys. And he was going out for cigarettes to 7-Eleven. He walked right off the raft to get torn apart by sharks. That's just what he did. He just... So the people who survived, why did they survive mentally? Analyzing their situations, one of them was interesting because he or she, I can't remember the gender, had a talisman. They had like a little necklace that was so important to them, and they just held on to that necklace, and it reminded them of some other place. So they kind of were doing, unintentionally, they were doing guided imagery, and that's something that prisoners of war will do unintentionally often. This is something that I learned in the military. but they're doing it intentionally. They know that they're doing that, and they come back to reality. Versus this guy, he was angry at the situation, and then just snapped. So anger is not your friend in that situation. There's a DBT technique called radical acceptance, where instead of focusing on, and this is good for chronic pain as well as like a wilderness survival situation, instead of focusing on what should be, right? This is unfair. My raft got put out to sea. I'm angry at this. I'm angry at God. I'm angry at the world. Like, everything is bad. These guys are idiots that are with me. Blah, blah, blah. Radical acceptance says, this is where I am now. And this is what it is. There's a lot of radical acceptance statements. If you've seen my video on radical acceptance, you can see that through the video I'm struggling because I'm trying to apply it to myself and my chronic pain, and you can see that there are statements that I can't say, like, this is okay, this is where I am now, I am okay. That just, I can't. They're very hard. But if you can tell yourself that, if you can tell yourself, in this moment, this is the moment that was intended to be, and it's almost like a faith statement, right? Like, there's a faith statement in the Brit Hadashah. For Christians, it's going to be Romans 8:28 that says, all things work together for good for those who love God, right? So for somebody in that situation, that can be a psychological protector to help you do the radical acceptance technique of DBT. The radical acceptance technique is a scientific technique, but you'll see that these faith things that have worked for people over time throughout history, the things that work are the things that work, right? So believing that, saying to yourself in the midst of like terrible persecution or torture, so that was the kind of thing they were saying, all of this will work out for good in the end. It's really the same as a radical acceptance statement, like with DBT. So radical acceptance with DBT says, this is where I am, this is what is happening, and that lets you focus. Instead of like, I'm angry at what should have happened, instead of living in a different timeline, you live in the here, and then you don't, get angry and walk off and get killed by sharks, right? You gotta be here in the now. Obviously, good nutrition is gonna make a big difference in keeping your brain and your nerves safe in the wilderness. So food and water needs to be a priority. And that's how we're gonna get out this survival book, and we're gonna analyze and see, is this a good book for things like food and water and animal attacks and things like that. So for you, Hush Hush, we did a little bit of psychological personal attention, just giving you some information on surviving in a wilderness situation. One more little tip that they all talk about is they talk about joking and humor. There were two rescuers who were trying to get a dead body out of a cavern, and they fell in and they got stuck in this like canyon. And the one guy, how he survived psychologically is he made jokes with the dead guy that they were hanging out with, because they were just there with this dead rotting corpse. And so he made jokes to it, he talked to it, but like in like a joking, macabre way. Fighter pilots have to do extreme stress situations, will do all kinds of weird jokes. Weird jokes are your friend. So I'm actually reading about comedy now because I want to be a funnier person for that reason, because I would like to help you psychologically survive bad situations with comedy about bad situations. So I'm working on it though. It takes time, and I'm only funny when people laugh at me. People like to laugh at me, but I would like you guys to laugh with me. So we'll work on that. But anyway, there you go, Hush Hush. Alright, who was next? We got Complacus. It was physics is next, and then I think it's Schooly JB. Physics, Schooly JB, and my gosh, people have been talking. Oh, thank you, Schooly JB. I don't know why. You're not interested in ever doing mushrooms again. What do you do if you see a skinwalker? And then Mr. Higglesworth. Oh man. Oh yeah. I'm very good at making Gabby laugh, that's true. I do have to be comfortable, that's true. And you're right, you do have to be jaded, and and that's why like I can make jokes, but they're always at the wrong time, because it's like those macabre survival jokes. in bad situations, like jokes about dead baby heads rolling down the hallway, or like I can joke being silly. I haven't found the healthy way to transfer my angry jadedness. Like I said, I'm working on the radical acceptance. It's very difficult. I haven't found a good way to transfer the angry jadedness into laughing at it. And that's what I would like to do for myself and for you guys. Kind of work on like, how do we transfer this into a healthy coping mechanism? So, the blues genre is the texture of my soul. You're at your funniest when you hate everything. I am funny looking. Oh, that was funny, Schoolie JB, what you said. Alright, so the next people I have to give a little bit of love and lessons to. Suko, I'm glad to see you back. Oh, I'm glad you liked the kimono. I'm so excited. I've been working on more edits today. The intro is a little bit long. I don't always love those intros with all the like tea and other things like that, but I think this one will be good. Alright, so who's next? There was someone, Physics. Are you still here? I think Physics needs some love, and then Schoolie JB. So I'm going to scroll up to Physics, and we're going to start there. Alright, so the next wilderness medicine lesson that we're going to do together, just a little exam. So, I'm going to listen to your heart and your lungs, Physics. However, look at this bird. Pew, 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 pew. Yeah, I made funny sounds. Is pew pew a weird sound? You look dead. You are so happy you look dead. It's a little bit scary. Oh, I see. Are you okay? You okay? It scares me. It scares me when you're so relaxed. Look, she's so chilled out. I like to lie down on her back. Look at this relaxed bird. Isn't it crazy? Oh, I'm so glad you feel safe with me. I feel safe with you too. I do. I appreciate and respect your. I really feel honored by how safe you feel. Makes me happy. Alright, so Physics. Let me listen to your heart. Obviously, the first thing we do is sanitize on their hands. And then we have to figure out how to put this on with birds. Here you go. And let me listen to your heart and lungs, and then I'll tell you how this is different in the wilderness. So first I'm just listening to your heart. I'm listening to the aortic valve and the pulmonic valve. Then I listen by the left lower sternal border near your tricuspid valve. And then I listen over here, right under your breast, right under the nipple line at the mitral valve. If you are female, I may ask you to lift your left breast a little bit so it's easier for me to access. Or I will slip over under your armpit and listen in the mid-axillary space instead. And your heart sounds good. Now the thing with hearts that you need to know. The thing about hearts. You wanna play? You wanna play with some stuff? You wanna step down? Why don't you step down so I can have two hands? Give me my hand back. Give me. Would you like to play with this colorful peacock? Look how pretty. I know, it's so pretty. So, in the wilderness, like in a gunfire setting, right? If we're, I know all of mine goes back to my military training. If we're in like a violent setting, I'm not going to be listening to your heart and lungs, so I'm not going to hear shit. Okay. So Physics, what I'm going to do is I would check your pulse. So I'm going to go ahead and check your pulse, Physics. And I'd feel, does it feel strong or weak? If I can feel a radial pulse, that's good. They used to do like blood pressures and say, okay, if you can feel only a carotid, then you know their blood pressure is at least like 90/60 and so forth. If you can feel this, it's at least 100 something. That's not true. They found with studies. Don't poo on me. Don't poo on me. Poo on the carpet. Oh, you pooed on me already. Oh man, you pooed on this too. So much poo. I've not done a good job potty training her. It is possible to potty train birds. Ginger, who's the bird that I just had on loan. You guys have probably seen her. She's home with her family now. But she was potty trained. Okay, so it's not true that those blood pressures really correspond. However, you do kind of have an idea of survival, right? If I can feel only a carotid pulse and no radial pulse, I'm worried. Okay, check your carotid pulse, right? However, some people, like myself, my radial pulses are so hard to feel, so I always used to have my medics try practice on me. I miss teaching my medics so much. Love my medics. I think the most rewarding experience in the military was teaching my senior medics. As some of you guys know that I had a case recently where, I have 100% patient satisfaction for a reason, but I also really piss off people around me because I am kind of a cowboy when it comes to my patients, and I got really angry at a medic technically under me who she refused to provide care to a patient. She was like, "It's not my job," which is like, you're a fucking medic, it's always your job. And the patient was lying on the ground in the fetal position, and this was a black woman that this other medic, who was an Indian woman, had problems with, like racial problems with. And I was like, you don't get to deny care to someone because you don't like them. So I got angry, I chewed her out, and then I went and provided care without her. And she got crazy about this and submitted a report saying I had, on my way to the patient, that I had pushed her, right? That I had turned her around, moved her out of the way, and pushed her. So, which didn't happen, but she was saying that that was assault. I didn't push her. So you guys know, I went through this complete, total bullshit kangaroo court scenario. No one could prove anything because I didn't push her, and none of the eyewitnesses would say that I pushed her. So they but the command team kind of tried to cover it up, and they only used her testimony, and they hid the witness testimony. They didn't include any witness testimony of lower enlisted soldiers, only higher ranking people who were her friends who couldn't make witnesses either. So they kept they didn't even interview the patient. They on purpose kept the patient out of being allowed to provide a statement, because she could have said, and she did say, that I didn't push this lady, and also that it was an emergency. If I brush past you to try to get a patient, I've been taking care of dying babies, and the NICU guy did push me. He shoved me out of the way so that he could save this baby's life. I'm not mad at that. I wasn't doing the breathing technique exactly right, and we got to do the breathing technique exactly right. He saved this baby's life. I'm not going to be like, "Oh, you pushed me, meh, 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 meh." A baby was dying, and we were trying to save their life, and he needed to get in there and get his fingers in there. I was a new physician, and I wasn't fast enough, and that is okay. We don't have time to, play around. This is a real life and death scenario. This isn't fucking snowflake sensitive kindergarten. Excuse me. That's not very nice. But so he pushed me out of the way, actually pushed me. I had no problem with that, okay? I did not push this girl. But if I had brushed past her to get to the patient, I'm trying to help somebody who's lying on the ground in the fetal position in obvious pain, okay? So that was always my problem. That's always been my problem in the military, is I have always been on the side of the little guy that nobody likes, the guy that isn't doing a good job because he's sick or he's got some mental illness. I had one soldier who was just a crappy soldier. He was such a bad soldier. Well, I figured out why he was a bad soldier, because he wasn't sleeping at all at night, because he was having severe nightmares. He'd been sexually assaulted as a child, when he was then attacked and jumped when he was on a deployment in Germany by some Germans as a black guy. He got beat up. That triggered just all these memories and everything like that. So he was having nightmares every single night, and we couldn't get them under control. It was terrible, okay? Yeah, so that's why he's a bad soldier. He wasn't sleeping at all. I can't tell the command team this guy has been assaulted, because the command team, because it's private, he doesn't want people to know. Men never want you to know they've been sexually assaulted, right? So I can't tell the command team this. All I can tell the command team is, yo, this guy needs, you to let him sleep. He has to have this sleep period. This is his sleep profile. He needs to get better. He needs this mental health care while he gets better. We didn't have a very good behavioral health officer. I'm lucky that now I have a really amazing psychologist taking care of me. Some of the behavioral health officers in the military are only trained with 2 years of mental health experience. They're social workers who just come in with a lot of preconceptions about mental illness. The psychologist, who's been through like 10 years of training and she's done all this clinical work and research, a lot less judgmental, again, more experience is more better. Not all social workers are like that. Some social workers are fantastic, but a lot of them are making really high level decisions in situations where they get power hungry and they're wrong. That's just plain and simple. So I mean, this guy was being totally screwed over, and it looked really bad for me to be on his side, because I was on the side of, him and another guy submitted an EO complaint that they were being discriminated against. I recommended that they follow up with that they do that. But the EO officer was white, which doesn't mean anything. There are white people who can understand the EO complaints. But this officer would repeatedly not follow up on the complaints that were filed from my company. He would just kind of brush them under the rug over and over again. And so it was like, there's nothing to do. I can't do anything for these soldiers because I'm not a lawyer. All I can do is tell the command team, dude needs to sleep. This is his sleeping profile. He needs to get better, then he'll be a good soldier again. So it looks really bad for me to always be on the side of the bad guys. And that didn't help. So my patients loved me. But I tell you all this terrible stuff about my military experience to tell you, in my stupid kangaroo court case where they had to have witnesses talk about whether or not I'm a terrible person, my senior medics testified. And, I sat there the entire day in so much pain. I was in so much pain that they were going to cancel the hearing. The people in charge of the hearing, the colonel was like, look, we can reschedule this. It's obvious you're in a lot of pain. And I was like, I've been waiting a year for this hearing. We got to get this done. So I was lying on the ground for a significant portion of the hearing. I was in so much pain, and I'm just sitting here listening to person after person that they brought these high-ranking people to say bad stuff about me. Didn't shed a tear, kept my mouth shut. But when my medics came up and they talked about me, and they talked about how my teaching has influenced them, I almost broke down and cried, because it made it it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what any of this has happened. It doesn't matter all the gossip. It doesn't matter all the nastiness that's happened to me. For a split second, I knew that all that mattered was what I had been able to give these 2 people. And maybe I've only been able to help 2 people, which is not true. I have been able to help more, but what they learned and what they can do, it made all the difference in the world. It was everything. And I was and one of my medics, the opposing attorney, really tried to grill her and make her feel bad about me. And she was so tough. She was clever and composed and so respectful. My soldiers sounded like soldiers. The other people that they brought on talked oh, and then this, and blah, 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 blah. And they contradicted themselves, and they didn't sound like soldiers. They talked like civilians. My soldiers, they said, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. They answered questions to the point, and when they were grilled and attacked, they didn't lose their composure. They paused to think, and then they said, no, sir. And one of them, she explained the sexual assault situation, and she was like, we were all very frustrated, because she was the one. She was the one that was there when I went to go scold a major about how my sexual assault patient was being treated. I'm a captain. I'm lower ranking than that. I went and scolded a bunch of people. My meds were driving me crazy, so I was very loud and a little bit belligerent. But the fact was, she wasn't getting care. I'm sick and tired of my patients not getting what they need, and I was angry. And my medic was there, and she was like, go off, ma'am. Never do something a 19-year-old thinks is a good idea. If a 19-year-old is cheering at you to do something, it's a hold my beer moment. She was very excited about me going to chew these people out. I got in trouble. But so at the hearing, at the hearing, she just goes, we were all very frustrated. This patient wasn't getting care. And she sounded so good. My soldiers sounded like soldiers. That's the bottom line. And I was so proud of them, because it's 2 19-year-olds, 20 now, 20, 21. These people who can't even drink, who are more responsible, more intelligent, and more reasonable than people twice their age, literally twice their age. People who are power hungry and care only about progressing their career. And so I was so honored to know them, and that's the best thing. So anyway, I loved teaching medics, and it's something that I miss very much. I miss teaching medics. I do. You want to look at my stethoscope? What are you looking at? Are you thirsty? Are you thirsty? What do you want? You want to play with my stethoscope? So anyway, physics. That's a story for you. I do love teaching my medics. So I don't know if you're still here, physics. But there's your story. Alright, so the next person was Schoolie JB. Sorry I'm taking so long, Schoolie JB, to get to you. And then Mr. Higglesworth is here. Oh, I love all you people talking. Oh, it's so lovely. I'm sorry I talked so long. Bob Ross, I love it, Schoolie JB, that's awesome. Good night, hush hush, sleep well. Oh, you guys are so sweet saying things to each other. Oh, good. I love you guys. You're so cool and funny and interesting. It is my favorite thing to see you guys. So, it's kind of like, because this is also very a safe space for me. I struggle a lot now, more than I used to, with talking to people because of like everything that's gone on, because I get panicky. I'm like, somebody's gonna get angry at me. I used to be very, very confident, and now I'm like, if I talk to someone, they're gonna get angry at me, accuse me of something, and then I'm gonna lose everything. So I can't talk to people. They're gonna get me. Or if I go out in public, there might be an emergency. I might try to save someone's life, and they might die. Like these very silly thoughts. But that's how it works. That's how it works when you have trauma and I'm working through it. And talking to you guys through this mechanism, I can still help you guys and be friendly and share educational information that I have. But it's fairly safe. Even when people are leaving nasty comments and stuff like that, most of the time they're kind of funny, and I can make them go away. I just delete them and don't answer them. One guy was so angry that I wasn't responding to his nasty comment. Josie knows about that. The guy was like, "Are you a coward? Do you not have the balls?" And it's like, no, I don't have time to pay attention to you. And I made him super mad because I answered the other people. I answered Josie, I answered her siblings, I answered all the positive people. And he was like, "Why won't you answer me?" And it's kind of like, I have much bigger fish to fry than like some little angry dude on. And I've kind of started to learn this. I have answered angry comments in the past with long paragraphs apologizing and explaining what I'm trying to do here. But in the end, I've kind of discovered, I have bigger fish to fry. I'm trying to save up money for Isabel in Liberia, right? People are nasty. There are more important things for me to do, to help people. And I have bigger bad guys to deal with, right? All this sexual assault stuff that I still have to write up, and there's more that I have to do with that, even though I'm so tired of. I have to write a chapter this week, really, for a sexual assault book that someone's doing, and I just don't want to. I don't want to. I don't like thinking about it. I don't like feeling like, the terrible situations people were in, and I couldn't get them out of it. I could only help them medically. What I wanted to do was go kick some ass, because even when I'm sick, I'm very good at hurting people. And it's like, I wish that, I had a different, but my hands are for healing right now. So can't go beat up some guy or stop them because people are filing restricted, right? Because people are so afraid that they won't report their stuff openly because they know they'll be retaliated against. One woman kept hers a secret because she knew that if her husband found out, he would murder the other guy. Because he loved her and wanted to protect her, and she didn't want her husband to go to jail, so she kept it a secret. And then we found out she was pregnant. The last day that they were sending me home from Korea after all this happened, because they were trying to punish me and everything, that day while they were yelling at me to find a flight, I was trying to save this woman and help her with her terrible, terrible situation. So I don't want to write a sexual assault chapter. I don't want to. I want to do pretend stroking and hellos and talk to you guys, but you know, these are the things we have to do. Point is, I have bigger fish to fry. Why would I be arguing with some guy on YouTube when I should be writing, you know, fighting real bad guys, right? Even from my bed, and that's the thing you should know, even when you're sick, even when you're super depressed, you are not worthless. Even from my bed, I am able to help fight bad guys. You can do the same thing at the Vocal ID Voice Bank. You can even donate your voice to people who've had tracheostomy surgeries and they can't talk and they need voices. They need like a little button to try to have voices, kind of like Stephen Hawking, right? They need voices that don't sound robotic. Well, you can donate your voice. Joni Emerson was paralyzed from here down. She painted beautiful pictures for charity using only her mouth. Okay? No matter where you are, you are valuable and you can make a difference. Even from your bed. Such is the power of the internet. But even before the internet, even if you have no internet, you can write encouraging letters to prisoners. I used to do this. I used to write letters to people who were politically persecuted or religiously persecuted in other countries. Right now in China, they're jailing Christians and Muslims, taking them off to concentration camps. And so I used to write letters to Christian prisoners and try to, you know, say encouraging things. And you can also do letter writing campaigns to your senator or to ambassadors to put pressure on situations. So no matter who you are, you can make a difference. You are powerful. You just don't know that you have power. But most of life is finding out what your power is, at least in your 20s and 30s, and how you can apply it to help other people instead of just kind of living a nothing life. So, and that helps. So no matter how depressed you are valuable, okay? I want you to know this. Alright, Schooly JB. I think for the next thing, let me find a topic in my book, and we will talk about it, and I will give you personal attention based on the topic, okay? So let's get this book out. And then Mr. Higglesworth. Oh yeah. Yeah, exactly, you're right. Onigoto, thank you so much. I'm sorry I didn't see that earlier. Oh, Unigoto, that's so sweet. I didn't even know you were... Thank you for being here. Now that I know you're here, Unigoto, let me get to you. I'm gonna go to Schooly Joey first, and then I'm gonna give you some special personal attention. Because thank you so much for subscribing. I really appreciate it. Again, like, you don't realize, like, how much this means, not just to me. Like, yes, it can also help with equipment. As you guys know, I showed you on the last stream, my equipment is kind of like helter-skelter put together. It's like not a very expensive setup. I'm using my cell phone camera to record. I use my cell phone to do all my editing. Like, I don't have very expensive equipment. I can spend money with equipment as well when you guys help me out and make better videos for you. But another thing, a big thing that we do is we're saving up for this clinic, right? And maybe my health isn't going to be everything it needs to be, but we have a backup plan. You always have to have a backup plan. And so I've been saving up money. My goal is $50,000. I've been saving up for the last 10 years. I'm not there yet, but I've been saving up so that even if I die, Project Paracord has a clause in the medical director clause. Would you like Brian? Are you calling for Brian? I'll let you out and go see Brian. I'll text him. I'll text him to come get you. Okay. I'll get you, Brian. So there's a medical director opt-out clause so that we can get into someone else to help the people in Paraguay as well. And so criteria for selecting a physician as well. So even if I die or I can't do it, we've been saving up and this is going to happen. And like I said, this summer we're doing telehealth, My nurse is going to be there on the ground, and she's going to make a huge difference, and she and I are going to correspond, and it's going to be so good. It's going to be awesome. So I'm going to go on the trip, even though I can't go on the trip. It's going to be really rad. So no matter what, like, these are things we're making happen. We're saving up for these medications. So right now what we do is we put away $200 every month into that, into Project Paraguay in general. I stopped some of the medical fund that they were having there to put into my own medical fund, so that, I'm diversifying so that if something happens to Project Paraguay, I still have this money saved over here in my investments that I can use for it. So we have 3 different ways that we're saving up for the clinic. And I'm just telling you this, Unigoto, so you know, like, where when you give to me, where your money goes. Yes, it also helps me stay alive. I need food and stuff to eat. And I can't work full-time as a physician anymore. And I'm trying really hard to save up for these things. So we give about $1,500 to Isabel in Liberia every month. And you guys are a part of that. And right now it's just $200 to Project Paraguay for the medical clinic, because we're saving up another several hundred in the investment fund that we're hoping to grow. And if that investment fund grows, then that's more money we can use for the clinic. So that's kind of how we're doing for those 2 major projects right now. So right now I've been focusing a lot of attention on the orphanage, just because they've been in so much need after everything that happened with COVID. And you want to talk about government control. They weren't even allowed to get out of their house to get malaria pills, which at that point it's not public health. That doesn't make sense. The children are more likely to die of malaria than they are COVID. Let them out of the house to get malaria pills, So Liberia's been not my favorite lately. But, so we're doing the best we can. So that's some things we're saving up for. With the business, like the tea business that tries to bring in income as well while helping people to relax. Lavender white is really good for relaxing. I really want to help you guys relax. My goal is we help you guys who have a little more money, and then we take that money and we help other people. And that helps all of us in this triangle. We become this triangle of helping other people and helping each other. And we almost become, I don't like to use the word family, because I feel like that's been co-opted a lot. And there was another study that businesses that use the word family are more likely to abuse their employees. That's not how I want to roll. But we become this like cohesive unit of taking care of each other, enjoying each other, and having fun. And that's kind of the superhero mission. That's the mission of the superhero alerts, which you guys should be getting the superhero alerts. That's the mission of the relaxation club, which you should be getting that too. If you're not getting those things, I can show you, I can link to them right here. This is where you can get the superhero alerts every week. Every week some new charities and new science fiction for you. And then if you haven't gotten your relaxation tips, you can even get a birthday gift and things like that. This is where you join my relaxation club. And that's all free stuff. Because I want to do free stuff to help you, and then whatever you can help other people. So anyway, Unigoto, long tangent. I'm sorry, Squeaky JP. I'm so slow. I've been so slow getting through everybody because I've been going on a long thing for each time. My husband laughs at me when I talk because he feels like my tangents are so silly. I know you want Brian. Hold on. Let me text Brian. Give me just a second, because I can't call to him. It's too loud. Brian, Finelli. Hey, honey. Can you come get Pistachio? She's calling you. He should see it. And Pistachio is calling for you, and I have no pants on, so I can't bring her to you. Please come get her. Are you up on the towels? Hopefully he sees it. It should go directly to him. Oh, my hair is a disaster because of her. What a nightmare. Come get. I'm going to type on your face, forgive me. Go get Pistachio. it's crazy how she's so good at communicating. I know she wants Brian. She's calling you. There we go. Just typing on your face. Would that be a fun ASMR, you think, to do like, you are my cell phone? What do you guys think? Would you guys like that? Like a you are my cell phone ASMR? Alright, so let's start on this book, Schoolie JB, and we will find the perfect thing for you. So, my father-in-law and I, every Christmas, we give each other back and forth survival gear. Little bird wants you. She's calling for you. She's making her Brian sounds. There we go. She might also be hungry. Thank you, Brian. I love you. Goodbye. Goodbye, Missy Bird. Alright, so my father-in-law and I always give each other survival things every year. And he gave me this, and so we're going to check and see how it is. Color code it, know what you're preparing for. Pack a bob for any situation. Ooh, Schoolie JB, how about you and I look at your survival kit and we start packing things for it. Let's go to page 11 and take a look. So I do have like always a go bag, but I have 3 different go bags. I have 1 medical bag in the car, but they're very small, like just medical equipment bags. And I can show those to you at some point. Alright, so gear. The point of supplies is to have them before you need them. So, a bob is a bug-out bag, a collection of goods that you would need to survive if you had to flee your home with no guarantee of shelter, food, or water during an emergency. There may not be one perfect, universally agreed upon set of equipment, but with good core set of items, you can put together one suit for a wide variety of situations. Ooh, what I should do is I should show you guys my my bag, my little list, because these things that he has in here, I have in just a small little container like this. So the first thing that they recommend is having shelter. So JB, if you would show me your bag, and we'll go through it together. Let me just rustle through it right here. Just open it up. So first, let's check for shelter items like a small tent or a sleeping bag. I always pack these like electric blankets that can roll up into just like this much space, because then I can put them over things. I'm actually sitting right now on my military sleeping system. I love the military sleeping system, and it fits the hypothermia protocol that I was taught in wilderness medicine. So if you can get your hands on a military sleeping system schooling, that would be good to have packed and ready to go. I don't have mine packed and ready to go. I have it sitting here because my butt gets uncomfortable sitting here and it's soft and squishy. But that is a good thing to have. Why do I like the military sleeping system? Because when you are in the wilderness in a cold area, it is recommended for hypothermia to burrito somebody with 3 layers. So you have the first inner layer, right? Then you have a second outer layer so that you can trap heat between the 2 layers. One layer, you're only trapping the heat that's inside the body heat, but you can trap extra heat in this air between the 2 layers in the ventral space. And then the third layer is a reflective, like these not electric blankets, I don't know why I called it electric blanket, these like reflective, like silvery emergency blankets that goes on the outside of the system, because you want to keep everything dry and it doesn't absorb liquid. It's kind of like plasticky. So you want a plasticky thing on the outside. If it's reflective, that's awesome because it can reflect the heat back in. So that's how we do the setup, and I love it. And then you could put it on top of a pad. The military sleeping system is fantastic. I'm probably not going to return mine to CID. I'm going to say I lost it. I'm going to keep it, and I'm going to have to pay like, I don't know, many monies for it, but it's worth it. Or I'll buy another one and turn it into them and keep the one I have. But they're expensive, but they're definitely worth it. If you can't do that, then you can create your own sleeping system. Again, it's the 3-layer situation. It's very scientific, very physics-based. So that's what you want to do. So shelter items like a small tent. Do you have that in your bag, Schoolie? You do have that. Perfect. they recommend a couple quarts or liters of drinking water and purification equipment. If you keep chlorine or iodine tablets with you, that's what I have in mine. I also keep iodine tablets in case of like radiation, which is very unlikely to happen to me, but my father-in-law gave it to me and it's a great gift, and you can use it for water purification as well. Iodine is a little bit more deadly than chlorine, so you got to be careful with it, but if you have chlorine with you, that's a good option. Always use 2 options to sterilize your water, okay? There's a difference between sterilizing and purifying. And you want to do something that filters it, like a ceramic filter is good, which you can also build, or you can build distilling so that the water evaporates into a container. That's something you can do. One trick to do that is you can take a plastic bag. If you're near plants, you take a plastic bag and close it around plants. So I always like try to have plastic bags in my survival kit. Tie the plastic bag around the limb of a plant, and the water that the plant produces will get stuck in the bag. You can also build sun distilleries as well to get water out. But the idea is 2 techniques. You use a purifying or chemical technique, and you can use some kind of filter technique. Bare ceramics is a good way to filter as well. You can build ceramic filters that even like filter out viruses and things like that. Like naked ceramics that'll drip water out. That's kind of cool. It takes a long time though. So have something for water. Let's see, Schoolie, do you have? I'm just gonna look in your bag. Sorry to get so close up in your space. I'm just gonna look here. Look in your bag. You do have some water purifying equipment. That's the way to go. The next thing that they recommend is high calorie, no cook foods like protein bars, peanut butter, trail mix, things like that. Protein is everything. So I don't have any food in my, that's actually not true. I do have food in my bug out bag. I do. Do you have food in your bug out bag? Let's look. It's good if it's not perishable. If you can steal an MRE, that's always good. I like MREs actually because I have a good memory of them. My father used to bring them home from work. So MREs to me are like special times with my dad. They were very cool. It was cool that you could cook this right in this bag. I do have a least favorite MRE though. It's this like goopy spinach pesto thing. It's quite nasty. And because I was always the last person to get food, I would often get that I don't like because it's goopy and gooey, but hey, it's food. You can't complain. And in the MRE bags, there's always something else to eat. Always. I've never thrown away anything from an MRE bag. MRE bags are also really good for wound care. So if you have the plastic outside part of an MRE bag, someone's been shot in the chest and you don't have a chest seal, as long as you have tape, you're good. You take that MRE bag, you find the wound, right? Make sure you found the exit wound as well, right? Because if it's a sucking chest wound and the person's lung is collapsing, you find the wound, you take that MRE bag, you put it right over top, and then you tape 3 sides. And you tape 3 sides so that the air can get out but can't get back in. So that when it burps, air flaps out, right? It's a flap. But it closes from air trying to get in, right? Air is trying to get in, it can't because it's closed here. But as it burps, because of the pressure, air will get out. So you can use your MRE bag for that. So I love to have like some kind of plastic, just in case, some kind of tape. They say first aid, sanitation, hygiene supplies in one line as if that's enough. That's not enough. My first aid stuff is very thorough. Fire starting devices, they recommend having several, and I agree with this. So I have the waterproof matches, as well as flint. It's really good to have flint with you because you never know what's going to go wrong. So Schoolie, let me look in your bag. Let me just look in your bag. It's going to rustle a little bit. Do you have fire starting items? You do have fire starting items. And then a small pot for boiling water or cooking. I think a small container is reasonable, but sometimes these things can take up space. Sometimes I like straight foraging, but there are foods that are better for boiling. A knife is really important, duct tape, rope, all those kind of things. They use this to pack extra clothes just in case. I would focus on socks, which I don't have in my bag. I should. A flashlight with extra batteries. This is why I have the reusable thing, and a solar. What I want to do is buy a solar charging unit that I can use as well. Cache, a digital backup of all your important documents and artifacts. like your will and stuff like that. That's a good idea, like having a little thumb drive. Having a little thumb drive with you. I think that's wise. I think that's super wise. I think the bottom end of this I have lost. And I'm not sure why this is bothering me. Oh yeah, I have, because there's a screw that screws into this. Let me show you. So this is my black doctor bag. Those of you who've seen me stream before, you know my story with why I like having a black doctor bag. Why it's important to me. Why it is important to me. Oh, and I was showing you, so this isn't super durable, but this is what I use for eyes. This is very expensive. I use this Panoptic ophthalmoscope. That's another thing Unigoto, your donations go to. They go to medical equipment so that I can help people. This is so much easier to use than the little square one because it closes off the eye so you can really see inside. This is what the neurologist that I saw used at one point. And it's just so much better. It's so much better. It's the best. It's the best thing. So, also in my doctor bag, I have my, let me check your finger. Mr. Higglesworth, may I check your pulse? May I check your pulse, Mr. Higglesworth? What I really want to check with this is your oxygen saturation. I want to check your oxygen saturation. Just put that. It's just like this. It goes on your finger. And that's what I'm going to do to you. And it takes a second. You see it kind of beeps while it's figuring out. My finger's very warm, so it's struggling to find out if I have any oxygen. Hey buddy, I'm alive. It's okay. I do have oxygen. I know I'm really trembling. And I have bad blood flow. I know. So it's blinking because 93 is not good oxygen saturation. You want to be at least 94 and above. But that's because I don't feel good, so my hands are very clammy right now. It's going to go up. So, and I do have trouble breathing all the time. So I just kind of have I have low pulse, not low pulse, but like difficult to find pulse. I have bad oxygen saturation, I have bad circulation. Let's check yours, Mr. Higglesworth. Let me just check your oxygen saturation. Now it's beeping. It's beeping. Oh, there we go, we're at 100%. Well, Mr. Higglesworth, that's good. Mr. Higglesworth, may I listen to your lungs? Let me just listen to your lungs for a moment. Let me put this away. Just kind of putting everything away. Oh, have you ever seen this, Mr. Higglesworth? These are for cauterizing little wounds. I have used them in the past on a cervix that was bleeding, just like a little cauterization of a wound. You could do this on, but I actually have this one just in case my animals get hurt. Because they're little birds, and you might have to cauterize a little bird wound. Did I tell you about the time I saved a leopard gecko that had a rectal prolapse? That means that its butt came out its butt. And I did a really quick little surgery and fixed it. All by my lonesome. Yeah. I was pretty proud of that. And he lived happily ever after. He grew and got big, and he had originally been bullied by the other little leopard gecko that he lived with. And, yeah, my husband eventually sold him. I wanted to keep him, but, there wasn't very much time. So, that is what happened to my leopard gecko. I am having trouble finding my... Here's one thing, your bug out bag should be organized so that you can find stuff. Not like my medical bag. Oh, you want to see something else? This is the 6 slips that we write in the military. This is what we write in the military. Just looking at what you guys are saying. Oh, Nigoto, you're awesome. Just become a brain surgeon, 50K, no problem. I know, I wish I was healthier. You have to do like 10 extra years of schooling. Can you be the Bermuda Triangle? Yes, Mango and Cinnamon are my other birds. Oh, you guys are very sweet. You see repeating threes everywhere. My bicycle helmet on, so if you accidentally push me into traffic, I'll survive. Maybe. Oh no. Oh yeah, Unigoto. I hope you have a wonderful camping trip. Be safe. Make sure you let people know where you're going before you go, so that, and tell them about what time you're supposed to be back. You know. Oh, you like watching MRE videos? Josie, do you like what's his name? Steve 1989 or whatever? He's the best. He is the best. Last time I checked, it was 98%. You started running more, feeling better, like a wild one. Oh, you guys are... I love you guys. It's cool. I love seeing your names in the stream. Oh, and I love watching Emmy Made in Japan. Josie, I think we watch all the same YouTubers. I think we really do. Hi, Imad Kafan. It's good to see you. Welcome to the stream. Imad, right now, I was going to listen to Mr. Higglesworth Heart and Lungs when I realized I don't remember where the plug is for this thing. Which makes it stupid for me to have it. It's stupid if I don't remember where the plug is. I'm going to have to... That's dumb. I thought it was right here. I thought it was on it. I was sure that it was in my bag. This frustrates me to no end. This makes me upset and angry. Oh well. That's not good. Always check your equipment. Do live streams and check your equipment. And then you know what you don't have. Like the thing that plugs into the thing so I can recharge my freaking battery. I have no idea where that could be. Oh, and then this little light. It's good to have a small light with you. I really like this one. I stole it from my husband. So, Imad, I'm just going to check your eyes after I listen to Mr. Wigglesworth Heart and Lungs. And then we'll continue through your pack schooling. Alright. It looks like I stole this from Kevin Faust. I don't know who he is. But this is where we would write out. So, like, my section, I would write here. I would write out what is going on with you, and then I would sign right here. And I would write, you need to go to duty, or you need to go back to quarters. I have a 75% return to duty ratio, which I think is pretty good. It means that I get people better, and then they go back out and they do their war fighting what they need to do. I don't usually fill out this section, because there's a lot of legal stuff involved with that section. But I put their medical condition, their name. Sometimes I write gynecological, and that's it. Keep things secret. That's how it works. I like that. There are some things about military medicine that I adore, that are way better than civilian medicine, and there are other things that I don't love, and I've unfortunately seen a lot of the negative stuff, while other people have seen a lot of positive stuff. There's a lot of good things. It's like with any socialized medicine, there's going to be problems, and there's only going to be benefits. So I'm not going to make a political statement on that. I have my preferences. I prefer direct patient care to the current, like, very money-hungry government and insurance system, because TRICARE is all about money, even though it's a government organization. It's all about, like, so I prefer direct patient care like they have in Panama. I think Panama has a really good system where they have a good safety net for people who can't get care, but medical care itself is cheap and you pay the doctor directly. There's no insurance company, and it's way cheaper because you don't have to, nobody charges up to pay the billing guy, the coding guy, the medical administrator, the 5 people working at the insurance company who decide whether or not what your doctor prescribed is what you're allowed to have. So you got to pay all those guys, plus the doctor's malpractice fees, plus his student loans, and so you're paying all this, and you get $400 for a freaking visit. That's nonsense. Just pay directly. I don't want to pay all those people. We'll just work together directly ourselves. But again, I'm not making a political statement. There are systems that work very well where they are So TRICARE has its pluses and minuses is what I'm saying. And I think one thing I like about the military system is there is pretty good communication between the physician and the employer or the commander, so that you can have good disposition and be taken care of when you're going out to do your job. I think we're very good at like disability evaluations and things like that in some instances. So I can't believe I don't have that thing. That's terrible. Alright, Mr. Higglesworth, time to listen. Time to listen to your heart. Not your heart, your lungs. Let me listen in the back here. And then over here. And then over here. And over here. Alright. Back over here, take a deep breath. And another deep breath. And another deep breath. Another deep breath. Perfect. Alright, Imad, let me just take a quick look in your eyes. What I want to do is I'm not going to look in your eyes, I'm going to check your pupil eye reflex. Where did I put that thing? I'm sitting right here and I lost it. Here we go. You saw it turn on a second ago, didn't you? It doesn't like me anymore. We killed it. Imad, you killed my light. What have you done? What on earth? What happened? Well, that's dumb. We're just going to use the normal medical light then. This is stupid. Always check your equipment, folks. Always check your equipment. Alright, so this is dumb, and I need to find a butt for this. Wow, it has amazing batteries, so I haven't had to charge it or recharge it. Oh, another thing I have in my bag, I always have my blood pressure cuff with me, so I can take a manual blood pressure cuff. And it has this thing, which is useless, but I'm going to put it in my little bag anyway. So, let me look in your eyes and I'm going to show you. Where there's a will, there's a way. Here we go. So there's a little light. Okay. So when you're looking in someone's eyes, you use opposite eye, opposite shoulder. So I use this eye for here so that I'm not breathing in your face. And same thing over here, I use this side here. So just like this, and you come in from the side, and then you look. Oh, I love this. I love this now that I've adjusted it. I can see so clearly. So what am I looking for when I look in your eye? I'm looking for to see if the optic nerve looks good or if it looks swollen, like there's edema. I am looking to see the vessels branching out, if any of them look like they've burst. You know, like if you have bad hypertension. Yeah. I'm looking to see if I can see clearly your fovea and your macula. That's a little bit difficult. That's way in the back. Looking for any other abnormalities, corneal abrasions, things like that. Turn off, please. I think we just ran out of battery, too. I better find the plug for this. Always have your equipment all in the same bag so that you don't have that problem. I can't believe we ran out of battery on this. Well, I mean, I can believe it. I've turned this on for like several months. I've been using it very frequently with the same charge, and it hasn't run out of battery. That's pretty baller. So, can't complain there, but need to find that piece. Alright, so there we go. That was your eyes, Imad. So in a wilderness setting, really important to keep sand out of your equipment, obviously. That's a big concern. Really important thing to keep things packaged tightly. Keep everything in an individual container is helpful. As you can see, there's a lot that I still need to work on. Things that I need to do better. Ouch, ouch, ouch. But that's why we're learning together. Alright, let's keep going through this little book. You dislike seeing the doctor. It costs too much to know things you already know. Exactly. Oh, I'm glad it feels less restricted since you started running more. Exactly. Corrosion is a big issue. Oh, Thank you, Unigoto. I think we finally got everyone. Did we get everyone? We're going into the deep woods of China anyways. You are some silly, funny people. Silly, funny people. Alright. I am really bothered by the fact that I don't know where that is. I thought that it was in my bag. I'll have to do a little bit of looking and digging, I guess. I guess that's what I have to do. Maybe it's on the shelf. Alright, so the next thing is going to be flashlight, like we talked about. I think having something that's rechargeable and like something solar is helpful. But just in case, you could have batteries too. Cache your backup. So we went through your whole list. They actually have a really cool chart here for your home, for a bug out bag, a big one to have in your home, so that if there's a problem, you have like a signal mirror, a whistle, change of shoes and socks, small pen and paper, duct tape, razor blades, disinfectant wipes, a fishing kit, bouillon cubes, because that makes a really big difference when you are running out of electrolytes. Bouillon cubes are really helpful. Tin foil for if the aliens come. No, I'm kidding. A small shovel and snow chains or a sandbag. And then you can have those things like in your home or car for big emergency. And then you have something else in your office. So that's kind of a cool idea. So I like that. I like this book so far. They have a home survival kit, and they recommend for you to pack something weird. Right. Like something that makes you happy. And this is like we talked about hush hush. For mental protection, I pack tea. Pack something else that's going to make you happy. The danger with tea and coffee is they make you pee, and you can lose water that you needed that way. So that is a danger to consider. They can kind of dehydrate you a little bit. So you could pack something else that makes you happy, something that gives you electrolytes, something else to think about. Vodka and candy, they say you could bring. I would be careful about, so you can use vodka as a disinfectant to help with your medical gear. And also, like, if you need to do a procedure or something, like, God forbid, it's a terrible, terrible situation, it can help kind of anesthetize you a little bit. In general, I would recommend not drinking alcohol when you're in an emergency situation, because then you'll be stupid. Don't want you to be stupid. So they talk about waterproof matches. They talk about being fire smart. So, cover any external vents with a fine metal screen to keep sparks from an external fire from entering your home. Know your fire types. So this is a good one. This is a very good one. I'm going to do a video actually on a fire soon, but this is a good one to talk about. Let's talk about it, okay? Are you ready? Are we going to talk about it together? If you have a fire in your home or garage, you obviously want to put it out pronto, but not all fires are created equally. Class A extinguishers are for fires fueled by ordinary flammable materials like wood, paper, and some plastics. Class B extinguishers can extinguish gasoline or oil, or acetylene or butane. foraging is a big deal. I think it's a good idea to go out walking in the area where you are so you know what kind of forageable foods there would be if you were in a survival situation. I know where the foods are in my area. I live in Texas, which is well-known fact. I just have to be careful with you guys about my address because there is a stalker who's trying to find me, but they know I live in Texas. So don't stalk me, please. I please would like you to not do that because, yeah, we can have a get-together in public where we're all together and that will be a lot of fun. We can do a meeting, or we could not do that because so many of us have social anxiety. However we choose to do it, it can be lovely, but please don't stalk me, okay? Don't come to me uninvited. I have an axe and a sword. I don't, I can't have guns right now because of my mental health situation, but people I know do. Don't come to my house and bother me. Be invited. If you need help, you can come to my house, but please don't stalk me, okay? So anyway, I do have a stalker, and yay, badge of being, I guess that makes me an influencer now. I have a stalker. But anyway, so I live in Texas, and around me there's cactuses that are edible. A lot of them died in this big freeze, this big snowstorm we had, but there are cactuses that are edible. There are certain wildflowers that are edible. A big thing is that we have both dandelion and dockweed. A lot of ours are a little thistly and spiny, but you can break that down by boiling or in a blender or stuff like that. So know your area, know what kind of food is in your area. That's another good survival tip. It was illegal to not. You'll eat my stalkers. Sparks, oh no, what happened to their coffee is nature's perfect caffeine delivery system. Just add sugar and cream. Coffee also gives me panic attacks when I drink too much. I'm the same way, Mr. Higglesworth. And it's the worst for their green skin and their fruit snacks and their ray guns. Oh, you people. I like you people. Well, folks, I think, so far I think this book is pretty good. So I'm not going to recommend it exactly yet, but they do seem to have some good basic survival stuff in it. It's by the editors of Outdoor Life. It says prepare. It's kind of more almost a prepper book than a survival book. It literally has the word prepare in the title for anything. Prepare for anything. So far it looks pretty good. I saw their episode on cougar attacks too in here, and that's pretty reasonable. That's pretty good. So I will show you a different book next time, but if you guys are looking for a survival book, I'm getting the idea some of the stuff is a little bit shallow, like even their fire section. They told you like classes of extinguishers to buy for your home, but they didn't really specify what I just did when I told you about like how to get rid of a like certain fires. I felt like they needed more specific stuff. This is really cool. They have this like comic in it. So some of this stuff, it's like, it seems to me to be very basic. It's not like, or it's like stuff that is kind of odd. A little bit odd, but there's some good stuff. There's some good stuff here. I think it's worth it. I think it's a worth it book to get, especially as a beginner survivor. This page is fantastic. This is really, 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 really good. Very specific. So, when you're treating your water, first you filter it, right, through like a coffee filter or a cloth, okay? It doesn't make it safe to drink, but it helps disinfection work more safely. So like I talked to you about, I said try to use always 2 techniques in one. They give you the details of bleach, which I didn't say, 2 or 4 drops of ordinary chlorine bleach per quart or liter of water. Can you remember that? 2 to 4 drops. So that's perfect. So this is a really good section. Tincture of iodine, 5 to 10 drops of 2% in 1 quart or liter of water. So that's pretty cool. For povidone and iodine, you have 8 drops for nice looking water and 16 for swamp water. Povidone and iodine is pretty expensive, I think. So it doesn't take much to disrupt municipal water. Earthquakes can break pipes, and sometimes it takes the city a while to get the taps back on. If your water stops flowing to your home, you have a few options to consider. So you can actually take water out of the pipes. You can find water, drinkable water, in your hot water heater. The toilet tank, not the toilet bowl, you could disinfect it. The fish tank and the gutters. So we did have, during the snowstorm, all of our water did shut off for a couple weeks. Maybe a week, maybe about a week. So we could have showered if we were really like putting our minds to it, but we couldn't really. Like what we could have done is taken snow, put in a bucket, put holes in it, and then use that. And that's been done before, but we weren't that desperate to shower. Someone also offered us a place to go. We didn't go. We just stayed and got disgusting. But that's a way that you can deal, is like snow. But what we did is we took, when we were running out of drinking water and toilet water was the big deal because we had to flush the toilet. So we did take our fish tank water. We took a big gallon of fish tank water and we used it every now and then to flush the toilet. We did the rule, when it's brown, flush it down. When it's yellow, let it mellow, And then what we did is we melted a bunch of snow also to help us flush the toilet. So we were able to still, survive kind of hygienically, even though we didn't have any water for about a week. So, there's just 2 techniques. You can use it. True, you can use your fish tank, but your fish also need water. And then snow is great. You can melt snow. So yeah, they're not wrong. They're not wrong. That it is possible. Some of these ideas are silly. Don't get caught without vodka. You can use it as mouthwash. You can use it as pain relief. You can dab it on cold sores or blisters to help them heal. That's a good idea. Mosquito repellent. You can use vodka to treat smelly feet. You can use it as itch treatment to help soothe discomfort from poison ivy and even jellyfish stings. You can get rid of mold. You can deodorize your clothing with a spray of vodka. You can use it as an ice pack because it's easier to freeze. It has a different freezing point than water. Clean lenses with it and make a muscle rub. Fill a glass jar with lavender flowers, then top off with vodka. Let it steep in the sun 3 days, then strain through a coffee filter. Voila, a soothing liniment. You can use it to rub on your muscles. And there's a lot of ways you can use alcohol to make herbal tinctures, actually. So yeah, I like this book. So far it seems legit. Get the gear of the hill people. They have a section on guns. Oh, they have a section on paracord escape. I was going to show this to you guys. I'm going to show you. I can show you how. This is awesome. Where's my paracord bracelet? So one thing I always have available, and if I'm going out somewhere, I have a bracelet that's made of paracord. And I guess I didn't bring it in here with me. I guess it's not in my little recording studio. This is really cool. Check this out. Okay. So he'd just gotten home from a hike. He was tired. He just sat down to relax. But then suddenly he heard noise. Home invasion. They were through the door before he could even react. And this is real stuff. I've actually seen this used before. This paracord weapon trick. The robbers overpowered him and zip-tied his hands. He remembered to flex his wrists so they can't tighten them down all the way. So when you're being tied up, you want to do like this. Okay? So that they can tie you up, but you have a little bit of wiggle room. Okay? Another thing you want to do, that I was taught, is if you're being tied up, you can offer your hands like this to duct tape. If they're going to tie you up with duct tape, you can offer your hands like this. This you can open if they tie you up like this instead of like this. This is easier to open with a downward when you're alone, with a downward open movement, easier to open. So, and I've seen that demonstrated. It does work. So they went to search the house and he got busy, but he always wears paracord as shoelaces. That's crazy. I have mine as a bracelet. He quickly tied a bowline over one end and slipped it over the toe of his boot. So he has like this. Then he fed it through the zip ties and tied it to the other boot. and then he used it as a bicycle. And you can use, you move your legs back and forth, and then the tension of the zip tie, the tension of the paracord, you can use it basically as a tension saw to saw through zip ties. Again, I've seen this done. This is a real thing. So yeah, I like this book. It has real things in it. And then he ran away. Yay, he escaped. So, a lot of good stuff. Oh, they have a beautiful section here on knives. Really nice knives. I love knives, but I also find them kind of scary. But I love them. I like watching Forged in Fire. Any of you like to see Forged in Fire? I think it's super cool. They also have a section on knots. They have a section on your financial plan, sheltering your funds, stash your cash. They say it's a good idea to bury if this is a little bit crazy. Once you decide how much money to keep on hand for emergencies, you've got to figure out how and where to keep it. So they say don't hide it under the mattress. That's the first place burglars look. The second is taped to the back of paintings. So where to put it? You could bury it in the backyard. You can put it in the freezer. Freeze your assets. People will think it looks like mom's meatloaf, as the label suggests. As if you have a full freezer. If you have an empty freezer, it's going to stand out. Don't tape it to the back of pictures. But you can put it in between a framed photo or poster and the cardboard backing. And you can also hide it in a hollowed out book. I have a hollowed out book that I used to use to hide my stuff. I have no idea where it is now. But it's actually not that hard to hollow out a book. You just take it, and the big thing is gluing the pages. You cut in here with like an X-Acto knife, and it's not that hard. My husband did it really, really well, and it was beautiful. So I hope you guys have learned some stuff today. I think we've had some fun. I think this is a good one to pick up. My conclusion of this is good. I think this is not bad. I think this is a pretty cool, and it's got a lot of things in it. It's got how to can foods. Like, it's kind of like how to cook squirrel stew. That's not kosher. They have some foraging things you can look at. Wild garlic, chicory, lamb's quarters, evening primrose. Oh, so they recommend wild carrot. I recommend don't wild carrot. You know why? Because wild carrot looks exactly like a super poisonous lookalike. And unless you have a lot of experience doing that, like I talked about with the mushrooms, like going down a list for every single feature to make sure it's exactly the thing, I'm never going to forage for wild carrots. Like, you know, are we going to die of poisoning or die of starvation? I don't know. But wild carrots is a no-no. Don't get lost, you don't tell the wild animals. That's a cold shower. Bear Grylls is the world peeing champion. Oh, you guys are funny. And just doing your homework and listening, that's awesome. Oh, Bear Grylls. I used it as a child, to be correct. I once drank water filtered in puddles of a cow farm. You just used iodine. Yeah, iodine makes a big difference. Breaking duct, take your zip ties by slamming. Good idea to burn. Shove it in the AC duct. I learned so much. There you go. Alrighty, folks. I think I am gonna go and look for my piece of equipment that I don't know where it is. But we'll go through a different book next time. I think we'll do the same thing again, right? You guys like the medical exams, I think. And I think it's fun, and I think it's good because we can practice and learn things together. And comment on stuff. At some point we can do like an acupuncture one, because I have these awesome acupuncture books I'd love to go through, and we could go through them together. So, and I think you guys like it when it's kind of educational, right? That's kind of the difference between this and I guess other ASM artists. Maybe that's something extra I have to offer. I can offer a little bit of education. I'm dying. Another reason I have to go now is because this is starting to hurt. It's starting to feel like I don't know, not good. It's like sharp or sticky, and like it's, even though it's like loose, it's starting to hurt me. So it's okay. my goal is not to be better than other ASMR artists. My goal is to have something different and offer something, because I'm never going to be like the next gentle whispering or the next like ting ting or something like that, right? I don't have those mannerisms. My mannerisms are very different. I'm kind of more of a rock'em sock'em punch him in the face kind of girl. You know, she's a massage therapist. Although I've known some rock'em sock'em punch in the face massage therapists. Gentle whispering is like a very stereotypical like shh massage therapist. Even when she's not in ASMR mode, she's just kind of bubbly. And they all have their they all are awesome. And my goal is not to be somebody that I'm not. My goal is to offer something to you that you can't already get from them, because you got to get what they offer from them. You know, like I'm not going to be able to offer you these highly produced, amazing, like trigger visuals like Zeitgeist does. ASMR Zeitgeist, phenomenal ASMR artist. He really focuses on making unusual and beautiful, colorful visuals, right? I don't really have that. I'm not very good at stuff like that, like design and things like that. I just don't have visual skills. So that's not something I can offer you, right? I want to offer you what I have to offer. And I can do real medical exams, and I can be real with you, and we can do survival stuff together. We can talk about like these techniques that that are fun, and that obviously it's good to as a reminder of things that like I need to check and get better at, because oh my goodness, this teaches you how to craft a spear. I love it. I love it. So help others but guardedly, it says. It says, even if you are the biggest prepper hoarder on earth, you're not going to have enough supplies for everybody. So keep your safety and security in mind. No one should know how much food, water, and supplies you have or where they're located when you help them. For this reason, actually, I want to build, well, I'm not going to tell you, but because we're on the internet. It's good to have secret places where you stash things that you can use to help people, so that people who are justifying themselves in robbing and are not concerned about helping people, but are desperate and just want to help themselves, so they can't get those things. Because sometimes people are desperate, especially in poor areas. And they feel justified. They look at you and they think, oh, you must be rich. And so they feel like they can take stuff from you, not understanding that, like, what I have is to help people. And also the cost of living is very high where I live. No, it's not what you think it is. And so like knowing how to hide stuff so that you can help people is important. I don't have any good hidey holes right now. But my goal is to build a very cool hidey hole at some point, so that I can make sure I always have supplies to help people. That's the goal. So yeah, I think this is a good one. What do you guys think? Think this is good? Good stream? This is how we do? Doing more, would this be the kind of thing you want to do again? Let me know. All suggestions are welcome on stream. Just anything that you're curious about, or that you think would be neat for us to do, let me know. I can't always oblige, because sometimes I have my own problems that make it difficult to do things. But I think this is a good one. This is one where we can learn, and I think it's fun, and it's really good for me to review as well, and obviously to check in and find out that I'm missing stuff. So good stuff working together. So yeah, okay. So this is fine. I think this is a little bit less pressure than the travel medicine stream, but still good. And we just welcome you within the spirit of the role play, right? Alright, folks. Thank you very much for being here. I'm sorry I'm doing weird things with my collarbone. My neck is really hurting. Sorry. I'm gonna hide in my shirt. Oh, I'm in pain, so I gotta go, guys. But I love seeing you. You bring so much joy to my life. I hope that you take care of yourself. Not necessarily out of selfishness. I'm not saying to go become a selfish, eat, pray, love, rich, whiny, baby bastard. I'm not saying that, but I need you to take care of yourself, because you are so important. You were put on this planet for a reason, and every single name of yours makes show kindness to each other, then we've really started creating a good community. So that's my main thing I ask, is just that you could be kind to each other. That would make me so happy. So take care of yourself to take care of others, because you are a weapon against the forces of evil. You gotta keep your weapon sharp and taken care of, okay? I failed to do that. I failed to take care of myself, and it meant I wasn't able to take care of others, and I have paid the price for about a year and a half now. And I regret it so much. A lot of it wasn't strictly my fault, but some of it was because I was trusting the wrong people to take care of me instead of taking care of myself. And that's partly why I teach you guys this self-care stuff, because your therapist can't fix you. Your doctor can't fix you. They can help you fix yourself. You should always go to your doctor. You should always go to your therapist. But in the end, it's your body that has to heal. Your brain that has to heal. So learn to take care of yourself so that you can take care of other people. Being able to take care of others is a superpower. You will not be kind. Oh man. Good. I hope you guys all have a lovely rest of the day. Bye, guys. Good night. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful evening. And if you can, if you pray, if you don't pray, that's cool. I love you. You're welcome here. But if you pray, if you could remember me in your prayers, because I have been having so much more panic lately again. Put me on a new medication. We're trying. I think it's going to be good. The brain things are being naughty, and I'm really struggling. It's making me smile more to hide it. So get the crazy Joker grin up in here. That's the thing, is you never know what someone's going through. Someone may be suffering a lot but look smiley and happy. You never know. So try to be kind to everyone if you can. Try. It's hard. Some people are just... I was talking to my husband about this today. There's somebody that I want to love that I just don't love. And I wish I could love this person, because I used to love them very much. And I'm just struggling with loving them because they seem so selfish, and I don't know how we could possibly have grown up in the same house, and they're like so weird and privileged and cold. I don't understand. And so I want to love this person, and I'm struggling with it, right? We all have that, right? We all have somebody that we're struggling to love. Those are the people it's most important for us to love. So once I figure out how to do this, I don't know, I might let you know, I might not. It's going to be a long time. I'm trying. I'm being kind. I haven't done anything against this person, but I also just don't want to ever talk to this person again. And that's not right. Like, I just don't know how to show them love, because they reject me every single time, and we're supposed to be family, so that makes it kind of tough. So it makes me angry. I hate being rejected. And some of you boys are like me. Some of you boys, if you get rejected or shut down, you get a little bit weird, right? And you got to be careful, because those of us who get a little power hungry with our testosterone, we can get a little bit weird, right? I've been there, okay? I do have higher testosterone. I was tested than the average female. It's not that high, but I'm a girl. It wasn't high enough to change my gender, but I'm a girl. But it's a little higher. And those of us who have these like testosterone bursts, sometimes we take rejection in a way that we twist it, and we feel like, well, I deserve this. And that's where we have problems. That's when we become creepy, right? And I haven't stalked anyone, but I understand that mindset of like getting to be weird. So we got to be careful with ourselves. We got to watch ourselves. Sometimes it's good to just give people space. Sometimes it's good to be patient. Understand, like, okay, they rejected me because of their reasons, but I'm still an okay person doing my own thing. And that's why it's so good to focus on helping others, because then you know you have a purpose and a mission. Your identity isn't all in what you were trying to do with this person, right? Never put your identity in one person. I have a faith background, so I think I want to put my identity in God loving me. Practically on this planet, it's helpful to put your identity in many things. So if one falls through, you're still okay. You have other projects you're working on. So do a lot of things. Diversify your income streams is what they always say. Financial advice. Diversify your emotional streams. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Because if that basket falls through, So I'm just saying, be gentle, be kind to people. Sometimes it's hard to be kind to people. I find it, there are some people I'm finding it very difficult to be kind to. But we're working on it. We're working on it. We're going to get better. We're going to be so kind. People aren't even going to know what hit them. It's going to be so good. My closing argument. Your touch points. Blue bromothymol. Oh my gosh, that's an awesome name. When you go through, I'm so sorry. Sometimes they made the right choice for them, and it's maybe also the right choice for you, because you don't want somebody who doesn't understand how valuable you are. They're not worth it if they don't see the value in you. That's just the bottom line. They just weren't the right one. You want the one that locks with you, that syncs with you. Also, maybe you don't even need the one. Our society is so weird about singleness, right? We even punish singleness financially, right? There didn't used to be marriage licenses. I hate marriage licenses and don't believe there should be. I don't think anyone should be allowed to get married. Gay, straight, whatever. There should be no marriage licenses. Because marriage licenses were originally invented so that people could... Wow, is my stream pausing or stopping or being weird? The stream was pausing funny. So marriage licenses were invented in the US anyway, in US history, to try to keep black and white people from marrying. So they made it an official thing, like, oh, here's a marriage, you have to get a marriage license to get married. Before that, marriage was a private thing that you do with your church, your religious organization, your coven of witches, whatever you want to do. It's a private thing, okay? It's your private marriage. You didn't get tax breaks for being married. So like we punish single people now. We're like, okay, so if you're married, gay or straight or whatever, you can get a tax break, but if you're single, you don't. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. I don't know. This is a political statement. I think we should get rid of marriage licenses and have lower taxes on everyone and not tax single people more because they didn't, hook up with somebody. That's ridiculous. Because singleness is awesome. Singleness is a gift. You are so free to do so many awesome things. Dude, there's even, like, again, if you're some kind of believer of something, Jewish or Christian or whatever, in the Brit Hadashah, Paul writes that it is better to be single because you can focus on God. A married person has to focus on pleasing their spouse, right? There is a freedom and an awesomeness about singleness, and so many people spend and waste their singleness trying to find a spouse. And a lot of times someone's going to be more attracted to you if you're already doing really cool things. It's kind of like the people who are hunting for someone look desperate, and so then somebody doesn't want them. But if you're not hunting for someone, you're just doing awesome stuff, then everyone wants to be with you because they're like, wow, we're doing cool stuff. I would like to be part of that, right? So don't waste your singleness. Do awesome things and enjoy those things and enjoy yourself and your life and your spirituality, whether you have one or not. Like, enjoy, like, appreciate and be awesome single, and other people will see that you're doing awesome stuff. It's kind of like you're like we always assume that the male birds are doing the mating dance to get ladies, and that ends up being the end result. But what if they're mating so that they can keep singing and dancing, right? What if it's not just singing sounds so that you can get mates? What if you're getting a mate so that you can make sure there's more singing in the world? Right? Just a different way of thinking about it. What if the birds exist to be beautiful and make beautiful sounds, and they want to mate so that they can make sure there's more of those, right? What if what if it's not all about mating? What if there's something else, something beautiful in the world that we can share with each other? People will want you if you are doing your own beautiful dance. I know this from experience. As someone who didn't want to get married, very, very wanted to stay single forever. That was my goal. So, you miss your woods. That's good. I really hope you have a wonderful time in the woods, Unigoto. So, I hope that you have a really, really lovely evening. Dance alone in the woods. That's good. Be safe. Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. I disagree with the Malthusian model, which I think is being used to try to keep black people from reproducing. The you got one of my buttons, Clumpacus. The Malthusian model that we were all taught in high school has long since been proven to be false. It predicted a significant overpopulation, by 2001, that the numbers have not gone anywhere near that, because people die. I think, and another thing is that the problem, I'm going to keep it brief because I really do have to go. The problem isn't resource limitations, the problem is resource distribution. And I'm going to sound very communist when I say that. I'm not a communist. But the problem is that some people have more resources than they need, and hence they're getting very sick and fat and dying. We are dying because we have too much. And there are other people who are dying because they have too little. And they've done studies on this, on food waste, for example. I wrote an article in the Journal of the Wilderness Medicine Society about food waste, and you can look it up. You can look up Jen Finelli, Wilderness Medicine Society. I think you should be able to find it. And it's thoroughly researched with information from the WHO and other modern organizations with their data. And the data that was found was that wealthy nations are having so much meat, it's hurting them. And usually poorer nations actually need more meat in their diet. They don't need to be living a vegetarian diet. Although if you're a vegetarian, totally respect that. There's some really healthy ways to do that. But meat is very needed in some of these societies. So, and the meat distribution is a really good example because we throw away 6 million chickens a year in the United States. 6 million chickens that we slaughtered, and then we didn't eat them. We just wasted the food. That's so many dead chickens for no reason. So many dead chickens. When you eat meat, something had to die for that. You can't throw that away. You gotta respect that shit. Come on. So, that's a lot of chickens, right? I did the calculations based on the data in the food bank repository information. So I think the bigger problem, because the Malthusian model, I think that overpopulation is something to think about, but the Malthusian model was disproven, hasn't been true, and is being used by certain NGOs and organizations to try to control minority populations. So you'll notice that certain organizations will put more abortion centers or birth control centers in areas where there's minorities. And overseas, we have NGOs. I actually have a book written by an NGO about health. It's supposed to be about providing healthcare to poor people, specifically in African nations. And there's a significant portion of the book that just bashes all the African cultures that try to have a lot of children, and just holds up the American ideal of 2.8 children per household. And it's just very culturally imperialist, this book is, and it's because it's using the Malthusian model to try to tell African people, we don't want so many African babies, basically. I know that's not what you're saying, Clumpacus, at all. This is a topic that's also near and dear to my heart, just like prostitution is. We can go on to prostitution right next. It's a topic very near and dear to my heart because we can work and live together. It's just that some of us have more than we should have, and it's making us sick. I'm getting fat. I need to work on it. But we shouldn't have to exercise off our fat. That should happen naturally because we're not eating that much. We have all kinds of other problems. I'm not fat shaming us. Like, we have things that are causing our situation, and fat, it is and can be beautiful, okay? So I'm not trying to shame, but I'm saying that there's a problem if I have so much that it's making me sick and someone else has so little. There's a distribution problem, especially when you look at the land distribution, like in the United States, places in Europe, versus places in East Asia. There is enough land on this world for all of us, but it's all crammed on top of each other in some places. In other places you have these big, so we have to figure out how to live together, and that's very difficult. I don't think it's not going to happen in our lifetime. So I'm a big fan. I'm a women's health physician, so I do a lot of birth control teaching and education and helping people with birth control. But at the same time, I want to be careful that we don't use the kind of overpopulation, almost legends now, to, like, I guess, shame each other or scare each other, when a lot of times these are beautiful cultures, like Hispanic cultures that have a lot of babies have really beautiful family cultures, and I don't want us to be destroying these beautiful cultures in the name of overpopulation when we're just greedy. The average African child costs to keep alive something like 10% of what the average American child costs. So those 2.8 children are costing more than the 5 African children. So there's something wrong there. So then the problem isn't overpopulation. The problem is the 2.5 American children have way too much stuff, right? And they don't need all of that. You don't have to have everything, every streaming service, although they're very good for you. There's a balance, right? These things are good for our mental health, right? But you don't need every streaming service. You don't need every newest console. You don't need every newest equipment. So it's a balance, and it's a very individual balance. How do you manage your wealth so that you can help other people? At the same time, you got to take care of yourself so that you can help other people better, right? So that's a tough balance. Life needs to have beautiful things in it. So, right, so I've spent money on art. This money could have gone to someone who was starving. So the question is, am I using the money that I'm using on art to help make the world a more beautiful place? Am I making myself happier in a way that I can help others more, right? It's kind of a utilitarian way to think, and I'm not here to tell you what to do with your money, but I am going to say that you should have beautiful things in your life. It's so important to have beautiful things and take care of yourself. Make sure that you can help others so they can have beautiful things too. So, but again, not trying to diss anything. You just brought up something that's so near and dear to my heart. Instant food is heavy calories with lots of carbs. That's true. You've given up on this consultation. Yeah, I don't think I have anything new from these systems. I think sometimes we're given gifts that we don't need or don't deserve. But I appreciate them always, you know. So, and sometimes you just want to be overwhelmingly kind to someone, right? One of my dreams is one day, without being paternalistic or like wealth-splaining, one day I would like to take someone who has nothing to this beautiful mall in Hawaii that I saw once, where like all the rich Japanese people were visiting and everything was so expensive, and I'd like to have enough money to spoil them. I'd like to take someone who has nothing and I'd just like to spoil them. You have to be careful with that because you can hurt people that way. You got to be careful with like wealth displays and stuff like that. So I mean, there's things to think about, but I want to take someone who has nothing and just spoil the shit out of them, make them, you know, like make them feel like a king or queen for a day. That's one of the reasons I used to go to Paraguay and massage the feet of the women in the church there, because I wanted them to feel special, you know. I'd like to do something like that sometime, but you know, there is issues with that. There's ethical issues. You have to be careful and not be paternalistic and imperialistic, and also not establish like unusual jealousies and stuff like that. But yeah, and that's something I'd like to do sometime. So no, give them stuff. Just spoil the crap out of them. Yeah, I hate Wikipedia. Sometimes Wikipedia has really good sources, sometimes not, and some of their medical sources are so old. Some of their demographic stuff, aging stuff. So because you can't predict, you can't predict things like pandemics, earthquakes, all these other kinds of things like that. And I don't know. I think we just gotta be careful. So, but yeah, no, Wikipedia is all about it. Those editors are so Malthusian. I have seen, I've edited Wikipedia and gotten into wars with people before. Where I would just kept reposting the same thing. There are some pretty Malthusian people out there. So I know that I'm in the minority, but that's okay. Certain people are going to self-select and erase themselves racially by not having children, and other people are going to have more children, and that's where the future is going to be. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. 100 years from now. So that's why I want to leave my impact on people who are still going to be here 100 years from now. That sounds silly. That sounds very silly. Sorry, I'm being silly now. Okay, I'm glad you were joking, because I was worried. I was worried you were thinking that. So, yeah, we talked about that last time in the comedy thing, Mr. Higglesworth, when I said, take make every person live in a place where they totally don't belong. I think that fits with the make a rich person poor for a day. What is this? Oh, texting me that. Gabs, I'll text you back on phone text. I'll text you back on phone text. So, yeah. But, anyway, sorry to get on. I don't mean to make these streams into a high horse thing, and you can always check me, for things the Malthusian model is easy to check. You can look at the original paper by Thomas Malthus, how much it predicted the population would be now, what would happen, because the numbers have been correct, but his other stuff his other stuff hasn't been correct as far as what would happen. So checking, you can always check those things. And I am always, ready to be wrong. And I am, all I'm saying though is being married and having kids isn't everything. You can be single and make the world a wonderful place. It's awesome. And I think there's balance in everything that we do. It's hard to find balance. It's difficult. It's difficult to find balance. I like these close whispering sounds. I hope that you do too. But I am now tired. I have to go find my piece of equipment that has disappeared. Thank you for being here. I hope you appreciate and you aren't. Ooh, that's interesting. Oh, that is a whole other conversation. I didn't know that when you go to... I had no idea. Alright. Love you guys. Thank you for being here, Clumpacus, Mr. Higglesworth, Unigozo, Grumpy Gabs, Suko Vision ASMR. Like I said, you guys, check him out. Blue Bromothymol, thank you for being here. Schooly JB. So, I'm sorry I talk so much that people think that I'm not real. I'm very sorry about that. I will work on that. We'll talk a little bit less next time and do a little more exams. My hair looks really good when it's all greasy and dirty and sweaty. Wow, look at me. My skin doesn't though. I look like an angry raccoon. I'm so excited about this video for you guys. The character is really fun. It was really fun to be. She's just very demure and a little bit shy, a little bit mysterious. And it's gonna be so good. Friday's video is, I think so anyway. I think it's gonna be good. It's taking a lot of work, but it's one of my favorite ones I've done. It's a little bit critical. It's very serious. It's a little bit sweet and sad, kind of like the one prison video that a lot of you guys liked. So thank you so much. Thank you, Clumpacus. Arigato, Mr. Hugler, with all you guys. I'm your angry raccoon. I am like an angry raccoon. That is true. That is what I am like. So, and like I said, you guys can request stuff on streams. Like, streams is open. We can try anything. I might not always be able to oblige, and sometimes it's because there's a mental health trigger involved, like I talked about in the video about why I don't take requests. There's sometimes just something else going on that makes me afraid. So sometimes if I say no to something that sounds ridiculous, to you it's like, why would you say no to that? Sometimes there's just something wrong with my brain a little bit, so you have to be patient with me and my brain. But otherwise on stream, it's pretty much anything goes. Because the YouTube videos take so long to produce and everything like that, channel members and patrons get to request and vote on those videos, because, you know, they're paying, so they might as well get something special. Also, you guys can actually download my MP3s of my videos, actually. You can get like 20 hours for like $20. That's just like, it's better than like when you buy music, because when you buy music it's like 99 cents for like 4 minutes. This is like 99 cents for an hour. And you guys can get them if you want. You know, have to have the gumroad.com/peterpan. Have to shout out that things. I love Gumroad. I think they're very good to creators. They seem to be good to creators anyway. They've been nice to me. Also, you guys can earn money off the sales of my MP3s, actually. You can email me at my business email if that's something you're interested in. It's a little, basically, every time you tell someone about one of my MP3s and they buy it, you get a cut of the profit. So you actually get 50%, which is a lot. So you let me know and we can set it up. So like my package of I don't know, comedy MP3s is like, I don't know, $10. So you would get $5 from every sale. So that's pretty good. So you guys can do that. I'm just letting you know, since you guys are, you know, since everyone's kind of struggling now, and I think that we can kind of build together. So I don't mind sharing, you know, like working together, and you guys can also earn and I can earn, we can earn together. You know, I think that's kind of cool. So you can email me about that if that's something you're interested in. But otherwise, I gotta stop talking. I'm in pain. And I'm probably annoying you guys. I hope you guys are okay. I hope that I haven't annoyed you. Like I said, my brain is doing loop-de-loops, so I hope you're feeling good, and I hope that you feel relaxed, and thank you for being here. Good night. Stay safe.